Reborn as the goddess, becoming brothers with myself. At the age of 35, the down-and-out Wang Meng is reborn into the body of the goddess Su Yao, whom he had once fawned over in college. However, Su Yao's soul unexpectedly transmigrates into the teddy dog he kept. From then on, she leads a shameless and flirtatious college life, while also starting a business with Wang Meng from their university days, defying fate and changing their lives. Chapter 1: The Predicament of a Middle-Aged Man. Early autumn, afternoon. Sunlight filters through the parasol trees, casting a slanted glow on the bookshelf in the room. The tranquility is such that one could easily doze off after sitting for a while. An 18-year-old girl with long hair tied in a butterfly bow is diligently studying in the room, the sound of her pen scratching on the paper filling the air. Soft piano music flows like water in the background. Suddenly, the girl furrows her brows, looking down and complaining. "Jiayu, wake up, your drool is dripping onto my thigh." The girl called Shangguan Jiayu slowly opens her eyes, slurps the drool back into her mouth, turns around, and continues to sleep, resting her head on the smooth, long leg. Sitting beside the girl, Liu Yi, dressed in a purple bodycon skirt, taps her small head with a pen. "Focus, Su Yao. This is your retake exam after failing the course. The exam is tomorrow, and you still haven't finished half of the book." Su Yao turns her head to look at Liu Yi, pats her shoulder, and seriously says, "With your neckline so low, it's hard for me to concentrate. You're the one who made me wear this, saying it would help you sit still. Now you're blaming me." Liu Yi responds irritably, pinching Su Yao's arm. "Open your mouth, have some fruit." Just as she finishes speaking, Lin Xiaoxiao, who had just come out of the kitchen, holds a delicate fruit platter and uses a toothpick to feed fresh-cut cantaloupe to Su Yao. At the same time, she shouts across the room, You, please don't choose such a slow-paced piano piece. Jiayu fell asleep because of you." South Yu, who is playing the piano, lightly raises her delicate hand and then lets it fall, filling the room with the gentle strains of Adeline by the Water. "I love this song," Su Yao says, chewing the cantaloupe, continuing to write with quick strokes under Liu Yi's guidance. A male voice suddenly echoes in Su Yao's mind. How blissful! This is the life a reborn person should be living. The story begins on that night 3 months ago. Chapter 1: The Predicament of a Middle-Aged Man. "Dear, I have a surprise for you." Shangguan Jiayu handed her husband, Wang Meng, a pregnancy test stick, with 2 lines, one dark and one faint. "I tested this morning, and just now again, both came up with 2 lines. Congratulations, hubby, you're going to be a dad again." Shangguan Jiayu's lips curved into a smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She was overjoyed. Wang Meng held the blue pregnancy test stick in his hand, his emotions a mix of confusion and resignation. Their first child was a boy, 3 years old. This year, his wife had been hoping for a second child to keep her son company. Both Wang Meng and Shangguan Jiayu were only children and had never experienced the bond between siblings. It was always a regret for them. They had married later in life. Wang Meng was 35, and Shangguan Jiayu was 32. For the past 6 months, they had been preparing for pregnancy. Now that his wife had finally conceived as she wished, Wang Meng should have been thrilled. But at this moment, he couldn't bring himself to feel happy. Last month, due to poor company performance, Wang Meng had been laid off after receiving a severance payment for 3 months' salary. Before the pandemic, he had been quite fortunate, landing a job at a world-renowned Fortune 500 company. His salary had doubled, his commute time had been cut in half, and his work intensity had decreased. During the pandemic, not only did his salary remain unaffected, but it even increased annually by 8% for all employees. However, after the pandemic, the expected rebound of the real economy didn't happen. The profit in the company's internet sector plunged, and business volume decreased rather than increased. Without warning, the company began large-scale layoffs. Employees with less than 3 years of service, regardless of age or gender, were all let go with severance pay. Wang Meng didn't want to worry his family, so he hid the fact that he had been laid off and continued to dress in a suit and leave every weekday to search for a job. But 3 months had passed, and his resumes either went unanswered or he couldn't even pass the first round of interviews. Although HR didn't say it directly, Wang Meng knew the truth: the dreaded 35-year-old age threshold. No big company would want him anymore. So, he set aside his pride. Everyone had to make a living, and with elderly parents to care for, a young child, a mortgage of over 10,000 a month, and considerable family expenses, Wang Meng had no choice but to take whatever job he could find. He started driving for Didi and mass applied for jobs. It didn't matter if the companies were small or the pay was low, what mattered was finding stable income quickly. Another 2 months passed, and still no company had hired him. The leading companies were still struggling to survive, and the small businesses barely managed to stay afloat. To make matters worse, this morning, he learned that the property he had bought with the down payment from 6 different credit cards had been put on hold due to a real estate giant defaulting on a massive debt. In a second-tier city, a 50,000 yuan per square meter apartment, costing over 5 million yuan, with a down payment of over 1 million, was now just a pile of abandoned steel and concrete. Wang Meng watched many disgruntled homeowners holding banners on the construction site, demanding their rights. The government said it was negotiating with the developer and the banks to ensure the buildings were delivered. Looking at the half-finished building with its roof still open, Wang Meng knew that the so-called delivery of the property would likely be a long way off. Meanwhile, his wife, happily sipping chicken soup, smiled at him. Wang Meng took a chicken drumstick from the stew pot and placed it in her bowl. Shangguan Jieyu smiled brightly at him. "Thank you for the big chicken leg, love you." She then tore off a piece of leg meat and put the remaining large portion of the chicken leg into their son's bowl. How, eat this chicken leg, grow faster. Your classmates in the kindergarten are already catching up to you. Wang Meng suddenly felt a strong urge to cry. He fought back the tears, quickly shoveling the rice from his bowl into his mouth. Life was truly hard. By the way, I renewed Hao's art class this semester. He really enjoys drawing. Last semester, he made great progress in class. It's 2,500 yuan in total, and I still need 1,000 more. Shangguan Jieyu tore off more meat from the chicken leg and placed a chicken wing from the stew pot into Wang Meng's bowl, knowing that it was his favorite. I'll transfer it to you. Wang Meng took out his phone, opened WeChat, clicked on his wife's pinned avatar, and tapped to transfer money. There were only 5 yuan left in his balance. He selected the option to use his linked bank card to pay, but after going through the steps, it showed that his card had insufficient funds. Wang Meng turned off the phone screen with a calm expression, saying quietly, "Let us finish eating first. I'll transfer it to you tonight." He would have to ask Jack Ma or Pony Ma for a loan. Wang Meng had thought about being honest with his wife about their financial troubles, hoping they could figure things out together as a couple, sharing the burden. But each time, just before he could speak, the words would get stuck in his throat. Chapter 2, The Dilemma of a Middle-Aged Man 2. In the world of a middle-aged man, everything relies on oneself, yet there is nothing to rely on. Wang Meng deeply agreed with this sentiment. Rather than turning a problem that couldn't be solved into a shared burden by dividing the pain and comforting his partner, it was easier to shoulder everything alone until he couldn't bear it any longer, until the day when all the crises exploded. Perhaps this was the fate of middle-aged men. After dinner, Wang Meng went to wash the dishes as usual. Wang Meng was a man who understood the importance of caring for his wife. In the past, when work was busy, he would help with the housework whenever he had the chance so his wife could rest. Now, after being laid off, even though his mood was heavy, he felt more guilt than anything else toward his family, so he took on more household chores. After washing the dishes, Wang Meng took off his apron and, finding an excuse, told his wife that he had been invited to drinks by friends and would be out late. He grabbed his jacket and left the house. Wang Meng was a man who had come from a rural background. He had always been introverted, not fond of socializing, preferring to solve problems on his own. After becoming a programmer, he spent his days dealing with code, often working overtime on weekends. Aside from his colleagues, he didn't have many friends in the city. Wang Meng scrolled through his phone's contact list for about 3 minutes. In the end, he silently turned off his phone and decided to go to a street-side stall alone to drink his troubles away. He unlocked a shared bike and aimlessly pedaled down the street. The city's neon lights were dazzling, and traffic flowed endlessly along the roads, but Wang Meng felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness. He rode to Riverside Road and stopped in front of a popular street food stall. Wang Meng locked the bike, found a corner seat at the stall, ordered a couple of dishes, and a box of beer, then began drinking alone. On the wall opposite him was a TV screen, and the evening news was being broadcast. Tonight's first meteor shower of 2023, the Geminid meteor shower, the largest in nearly 10 years, will peak around 8 p.m. tonight, with a maximum rate of 200 meteors per hour. The sky will be clear and moonless, providing an excellent opportunity for stargazing. The public is invited to find a wide, light pollution-free spot and quietly wait to receive a romantic gift from the stars. Wow, there's a meteor shower tonight. Darling, let us go watch it, I want to make a wish. The excited voices of a young couple nearby caught Wang Meng's attention. They were probably students from the nearby Haimen University. Youth really is wonderful. Wang Meng looked at the couple cuddling with such palpable youthfulness and hormones and couldn't help but feel a twinge of envy. If he could go back to his university years, he would cherish those precious moments much more. He wouldn't take his studies so seriously, because after graduation, that diploma was about all the university knowledge was worth. He would try more ways to make money and have a few more passionate, unforgettable love affairs. Most importantly, he wouldn't have wasted his best years on that woman. Thinking back to his university days, Wang Meng couldn't help but feel an overwhelming urge to slap himself. Wang Meng's alcohol tolerance wasn't great. He usually got sleepy after 2 beers, and today, after drinking 3 bottles alone to drown his sorrows, he was already feeling tipsy. He had a few more bites of the dishes, finished half a bottle of beer, and then, feeling full, he stood up, paid, and stumbled out of the street stall. Wang Meng, is that you? Oh my god, it really is you. A sharp voice came from the right. A glamorous and beautiful young woman, dressed in an exquisite outfit, was holding the arm of the man beside her and walking toward Wang Meng with a warm greeting. Old classmate. Long time no see, do you still remember me? The woman, with a bright smile, walked closer. Her features were well defined, her skin flawless, and her eyes, shaped like crescents, were captivating. She wore a stunning golden sequined halter dress that highlighted her slender waist. The slit in the skirt reached high up her thigh, revealing her smooth legs, and her rhinestone-studded high heels completed the look of a polished socialite. Wang Meng, dazed from his drunken state, turned around, squinting, and suddenly widened his eyes. Su Yao. Yes. It's been almost 10 years, hasn't it? You didn't even come to my wedding. I thought you must have forgotten about me by now. How could I ever forget you? Wang Meng thought bitterly. You're the woman I just thought about while drinking alone, the one who makes me want to slap myself when I think about her. Su Yao was Wang Meng's classmate in university, and she was also the most popular girl in their class. From the moment she entered school and started military training, love letters were passed to her. Because Wang Meng and Su Yao were both from the same hometown, they became closer and soon, he was one of her admirers. But unlike the others who openly courted her, Wang Meng quietly admired her from afar. After 3 months of contemplation, he finally confessed to her, but Su Yao neither accepted nor rejected him. She said that she was troubled by too many suitors and that she only felt relaxed around Wang Meng. As a freshman, she wasn't ready for a relationship. Wang Meng believed that he was special to her, and that if he kept trying, she would eventually be moved by his sincerity. So, he became the typical nice guy in pursuit of her affections. Chapter 3, The Dilemma of a Middle-Aged Man 3. From then on, Wang Meng transformed into an endlessly concerned mother figure, from clothing, food, and daily life to even remotely diagnosing her health problems. Bringing an umbrella to pick her up on rainy days, reminding her to add more clothes when it got cold, telling her to drink hot water when she had her period, buying her herbal tea when she had a heat rash. He always bought expensive gifts for her on holidays, even if it meant squeezing his living expenses and eating instant noodles for a month. By the 2nd year of university, Su Yao said she liked Wang Meng a little, but didn't expect the academic pressure to be so heavy and asked him to wait another year. In the 3rd year, Su Yao claimed she was preparing for the postgraduate exams and didn't want a relationship to affect her studies. In the 4th year, Su Yao gave up on further studies, focusing on finding a job, and assured Wang Meng that after graduation, he would be her first choice for a relationship. Throughout this time, Wang Meng did think about giving up, but every time he made up his mind to leave Su Yao, she would take the initiative to show kindness, sending him small gestures of affection. As someone with no experience in relationships and easy to please, Wang Meng fell for it again. It wasn't until the eve of graduation that Wang Meng saw Su Yao walking hand in hand with a tall, slim man on their way back to campus. Su Yao introduced him as her boyfriend and asked if he was handsome. Afterward, Wang Meng confronted Su Yao, questioning why, if she had a boyfriend, she had been flirting with him. Su Yao was furious and replied confidently. Who was flirting with you? You were the one who kept pushing yourself. My boyfriend is studying in another city, and we've had several breakups. I told him I was single in this city. What's wrong with that? That's when Wang Meng realized that he was nothing more than a backup, and he would never have a chance to become the primary choice. When a devoted admirer meets a full-fledged manipulator, it becomes a one-sided massacre for 4 years. After this incident, Wang Meng developed a psychological barrier towards women and didn't date for a long time. If he hadn't met his current wife, he might have ended up lonely for the rest of his life. This is my husband, Mu Xiaolong, the one you've met before. Su Yao pulled Wang Meng back to an unbearable past, holding hands intimately with the man beside her. Wang Meng glanced at the man, tall, around 180 centimeters, handsome, wealthy, dressed in the style of a successful businessman. I've heard Su Yao talk about you. You were classmates, and you're also from the same hometown, right? When I was studying in another province, Su Yao said she was really grateful to you for looking after her during her university years. Wang Meng felt a sharp pang in his chest. So, Su Yao still took it for granted, huh? I spent 4 years supporting you, Mu Xiaolong, taking care of her time, energy, and money. After all these years, compounded interests, I should at least get 100 or 200,000. Wang Meng almost wanted to ask Mu Xiaolong for that money. Mu Xiaolong checked his Rolex Submariner, then said to Su Yao, "Darling, we should go now, we're going to be late for the banquet." "Okay, darling. Wang Meng, we'll catch up another time." Su Yao's eyes sparkled as she was pulled away by her husband, disappearing into the crowd. Wang Meng watched Su Yao's graceful figure disappear, the alcohol rising in his chest. His stomach churned, and his heart felt especially bitter. Staggering to the riverbank, the cold wind from the river pierced his thin shirt, causing him to shiver. "Look, the meteor shower." Voices of excited girls echoed not far away, and people in the open space by the river began taking out their phones, snapping pictures of the sky. "Make a wish, it said that wishes during a meteor shower come true." 2 young girls nearby clasped their hands together and closed their eyes in excitement, wishing. Wang Meng looked up at the sky. The meteors, trailing long blue tails, streaked across the night sky, leaving arcs of light behind. In that fleeting moment, they exploded in their final brilliance, bursting with all the glory they had stored up in their lives. Wang Meng's head throbbed painfully, as though countless needles were pricking his mind. Flashes of his life from childhood to now raced through his thoughts, some blurry, some clear until only the image of a crumbling house, the confusion of job hunting, his wife's innocent yet helpless gaze, a baby reaching out for a hug, and Su Yao's voice calling him a dog, remained. In this life, he was done with mediocrity, with being ignored, with the quiet endurance and reliance that came with being a man. He rushed to the railing by the river and shouted towards the meteor shower. "God, give me a new life. And let Su Yao be the dog." Then, Wang Meng's body went limp, and he collapsed against the railing, drunk and unconscious. Wang Meng slowly opened his eyes and saw clean white walls, blue curtains, and a puzzled expression spread across his face. "Where am I?" He saw the ECG monitor and an IV drip hanging by his bed, with an IV needle in his hand. He was somewhat shocked. Did I get alcohol poisoning and get sent to the hospital by a kind stranger? He propped himself up with one hand on his forehead, but the headache didn't subside. "I'm never drinking that much again." Wang Meng looked down at his heaving chest, which seemed a bit more prominent than usual. He instinctively touched his chest with his left hand, the one that didn't have the IV needle in it. It felt incredibly soft, but unfortunately, it was an A cup. "Looks like I need to lose some weight. A pair of breasts like a woman's. Why do they feel so different than usual?" Wang Meng rubbed his chest, feeling confused. Chapter 4, Their Hospital, Wang Meng meets Wang Meng again. Wang Meng thought about his wife, Shangguan Jiue's full 30-60 chest, its firmness, which once drove him crazy, and how he would bury his face in it every day during their dating and cohabitation days. After marriage, to save more money, he worked tirelessly, writing code late into the night. As the hair on his head fell out at an alarming rate, his desire for intimacy also declined rapidly. Soon, he found himself afraid to touch his wife's busty little bunnies because once they were aroused, he felt utterly powerless to perform. Luckily, his wife's period always arrived right on schedule. Before marriage, her period was an obstacle. After marriage, it became a savior. Wang Meng looked at his arm, which had become a bit smaller, and his skin had become fair and smooth, almost like that of a young girl under 20. That long-lost feeling of heart-pounding excitement. Wang Meng thought, this dream feels so real. If I've turned into a young girl in this dream, then my good old buddy should be gone, right? He moved his hand down his small belly, and sure enough, his dragon was gone, leaving only a deep, unfathomable dragon pit. Waking up to face the cruel reality, he wished this dream would never end. Wang Meng unbuttoned the 2 buttons on his hospital gown and slid his left hand inside. As his hand brushed over the soft skin, a blush rose on his cheeks. He could feel delicate, smooth skin and a contoured, almond-shaped face. This was definitely a beautiful woman's face. Out of the corner of his eye, Wang Meng spotted a phone under the pillow. He pulled it out and saw an old Nokia N78, but it was brand new, clearly opened not long ago. This dream really was full of strange details. He recalled back when he first entered university, how the Nokia N78 had been all the rage, and many classmates had bought one. He had even bought one for Su Yao as a birthday gift, while he was still using a Nokia 1110, which came free with a mobile plan. That day, Su Yao had given him a big hug, and he didn't want to shower for days. It wasn't until the hot summer heat made him unbearable that he reluctantly washed his clothes and took a shower. Wang Meng opened the phone and saw the tiny screen displaying the time and date, 7:35, the 28th of May 2008. This dream was incredibly detailed. 2008, that was when I was in my second semester of my first year of university. He pressed the camera button and took a selfie with the N78's meager 300,000 pixel front camera. Su Yao's face appeared on the phone screen. Wang Meng threw the phone away in shock, and it fell to the floor with a thud. This was a nightmare. I need to wake up. Wang Meng pinched his left arm hard with his right hand. The soft, round arm turned from white to red, then purple, and the pain made him grit his teeth. He released his grip and closed his eyes. After about 10 seconds, he reopened them. The same blindingly white walls, blue curtains, pale skin, and heaving chest. Wang Meng quickly got out of bed, pushing the 4-stand, and went to the bathroom. In the mirror, he saw Su Yao's sickly pale, delicate face. He immediately unbuttoned his gown and opened his chest. Confirming the soft, plush presence, his right hand trembled as he reached down to his waist empty. It was over. This wasn't a dream. Wang Meng looked at the familiar young girl in the mirror. His head throbbed again, and memories of the meteor shower and his shout to the sky before he passed out came rushing back. And then the date on the Nokia N78, 2008. Unreliable old heavens, I thank you for letting me relive my life. But how did you end up putting my soul into Su Yao's body? Wang Meng collapsed to the floor. Wait a minute, if my soul is now in young Su Yao's body, where is Su Yao's soul? And also, if this is a rebirth, where is the system? Why hasn't there been a ding sound? Wang Meng closed his eyes, trying to summon the system's interface with his mind. No response. When he opened his eyes, everything was still empty. Damn the meteor shower wish. Sitting on the floor for a long time, Wang Meng slowly accepted the fact that his soul had transferred into young Su Yao's body, without any system to assist him. In his past life, as a man, he had endured so much. Now, the heavens were toying with him even in this rebirth. This time, as a woman, she decided she wouldn't sacrifice herself anymore. Wang Meng no, Su Yao gathered a determined light in her eyes. She pushed the 4-stand back to the bed, picked up the phone that had fallen on the floor, and opened the memo app, starting to type. Su Yao, using your body, I will live for myself. Turning off the screen, Su Yao crawled back into bed and began contemplating her current situation. At that moment, the hospital door creaked open, and a young Wang Meng entered, carrying 2 bags of breakfast. Su Yao, you're awake at last. You scared me. You've been unconscious for almost 12 hours. Wang Meng sat on the small stool beside the bed and asked with concern. How do you feel now? It's strange, the doctor did all sorts of tests yesterday, and everything was normal. How did you suddenly pass out? The Wang Meng in front of her was 20 years old, with a face still full of youthful innocence. His sharp features were defined, and his looks were handsome, though he sported an outdated middle parting. He was wearing an oversized red and black jacket, which looked like a school uniform, paired with a pair of worn-out grey sneakers from Peak. Clearly, he was a geek who didn't care much for his appearance. Chapter 5, Wang Meng meets Wang Meng again. Point 2. Looking at Wang Meng's outfit, Su Yao thought to herself. When we were in college, it was normal for me not to like you, but for you to like me and want to be with me now, that is abnormal. Su Yao thought back to the foolish things she had done in the past, being a love-struck fool, and her head began to ache again, though it wasn't as bad as before. It might be a side effect of this strange reincarnation. She gently rubbed her temples with her delicate fingers and whispered, "I think I've lost some memories. Can you tell me what year and date it is today? What happened yesterday? Amnesia?" "Su Yao, stop scaring me," Wang Meng replied, looking alarmed. "Today is May 28, 2008. Yesterday, last night, I was talking to you in the empty space next to the teaching building, and then you suddenly passed out. I called an ambulance and had you brought here. I also called our counselor, and she has already informed your parents. They should be here in the morning to see you." Wang Meng seemed embarrassed and hesitated to speak further. Seeing the confused look on her past self's face, Su Yao quickly saw through his concealment. "What did you say to me? Don't stutter." I confess to you." Wang Meng exhaled deeply. "You said you were overwhelmed by too many suitors and that it was rare for you to feel relaxed with me. You said you didn't want to start a relationship in your first year. I thought you were right. You weren't ready, and I was too eager." Such a master of self-deception, everything Su Yao said, you take it as sweet. Su Yao felt a deep sense of melancholy rise in her heart. She truly pitied the young Wang Meng. "Wang Meng, is it possible that Su Yao never wanted to be with you? No matter how hard you tried, how long you tried, she always saw you as a backup option, and one that would never make it to first place." What are you saying, Su Yao? Are you okay?" Wang Meng leaned forward, about to press his hand to Su Yao's forehead to check for fever. But just as his hand was near, it paused, and he dropped it to his side, turning to leave to call the doctor. The humility of a loyal, obedient man, it was heartbreaking. Su Yao couldn't help but feel angry at how hopelessly naive he was. She grabbed Wang Meng's arm forcefully and pulled him back toward her. He staggered, falling backward onto Su Yao's bed, his head landing on her legs as their eyes met. The distance was so close that he could smell the sweet fragrance of her body. Su Yao cupped Wang Meng's face in both hands and kissed him suddenly, with force. Wang Meng froze, his whole body stiff, eyes wide open, unable to move. Su Yao held her breath and, not backing down, freed one hand and moved Wang Meng's right hand toward her soft chest. Wang Meng's right hand trembled with excitement, his breathing rapid, almost fainting. Su Yao couldn't take it anymore. She pulled her lips away from his and placed his frozen right hand back to his side, staring at him with a mocking look, as if watching a startled little deer. The feeling of kissing a man was revolting, even if it was with myself. Su Yao wiped her lips with the back of her hand, a sense of vengeful pleasure filling her as she smiled at Wang Meng. "Did you enjoy that?" Wang Meng managed to sit up, looking at Su Yao as though she were an alien, murmuring, "Why? Didn't you say yesterday that you didn't want to be in a relationship?" Finally, Wang Meng pressed his right hand to Su Yao's forehead, then to his own forehead. "You're not burning up." Su Yao laughed heartily, startling Wang Meng so much that he stood up suddenly and took 2 steps back. Thinking back to his confession, a fresh wave of sharp headache hit Su Yao, and she clutched her head, curling up under the covers. "I need some rest. Can you go out and close the door behind you?" After a short nap, Su Yao's headache had lessened. She remembered that Wang Meng had left breakfast on the small table by her bed, and she was feeling hungry. She grabbed one of the bags and called out, "Wang Meng, come in and eat with me." Wang Meng walked into the room, with small pieces of paper stuffed up his nostrils. "What's wrong? Nosebleed?" Su Yao smirked, tasseling his hair and scolding, "Useless." I'm just a bit overheated," Wang Meng retorted, slightly annoyed. "Su Yao, you seem like a completely different person today." Su Yao picked up a little bun and took big gulps of soy milk, puffing her cheeks like an adorable hamster. After finishing, she leaned back, satisfied, and let out a content burp. She then leaned forward and whispered, "Here's the truth, I'm not Su Yao. I'm Wang Meng, from the future." Wang Meng froze with the dumpling in midair, staring at her with a look of sympathy. "Are you really okay? I think I should call the doctor for a checkup again, or maybe we should go to the psychiatrist." "Wang Meng, I'm telling the truth. I've been reborn, and my soul has switched to Su Yao's body. I'm from 2023. I am you, and I can prove it." Seeing Su Yao sitting upright with a serious expression, Wang Meng hesitated, sensing she wasn't joking. He put the dumpling back in the bag, his face full of confusion. Well then, prove it to me. Chapter 6, Wang Meng meets Wang Meng again. Point 3. You have a raised black mole on your left buttock. The scar on your left upper arm is from when you were 8, fighting with a kid from your village and being pushed into a creek, where glass shards in the water cut you. You like big-breasted women, and your computer screen is always set with exaggerated pictures of breasts as wallpapers. Your favorite thing in the hard drive is videos of Japanese actress Yuri Mikami. Usually, when you take a shower, you do some manual work. About 3 to 5 times a week when you poop, you generally tear off 2 pieces of toilet paper, fold them, and wipe yourself, then finish off by using a wet wipe to clean your back door. Also, stop. Please, don't say any more. Are you really me? Wang Meng leaned in closer to Su Yao, staring into her eyes, his gaze intense. Otherwise what? Am I some kind of pervert watching you all the time? Do you think Su Yao knows all of this about you? Su Yao spread her arms out and frowned, glaring back at him. So, what you're saying is, inside this body of Su Yao is the soul of future me. What about Su Yao? My goddess Su Yao? Where did her soul go? Wang Meng suddenly grew frantic, his eyes darting around the hospital room as if searching for answers. I don't know either. Su Yao shook her head helplessly. I just woke up and realized I've traveled back. Her soul should have transferred somewhere else. It didn't just vanish. At first, I thought we swapped souls, but after seeing you look so foolish, clearly that's not the case. This is really unbelievable, Wang Meng exclaimed. How old are you? I was 35 before I traveled back, in 2023. That means I'm from 15 years in the future. Listen to me, no one else can know about this, or the consequences could be severe. Do you understand? Su Yao lowered her voice, her tone serious. Having experienced over a decade in the society, Su Yao knew the dangers of human nature, especially when it came to outsiders. She couldn't risk exposing her time travel to anyone. First, no one would believe her. People would probably think she was crazy. Second, her soul had taken over Su Yao's body, and she had no idea where Su Yao's soul had gone. Until she figured that out, she didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Lastly, even if someone believed her story, there was the risk that some righteous or evil scientific research organization might find out and imprison her for experiments. That was a fate she absolutely didn't want. Just then, the hospital room door opened, and a plain-looking middle-aged woman appeared at the door. Her face resembled Su Yao's by about 70 to 80%. Daughter, how are you? How could you suddenly faint like this? The middle-aged woman walked over to Su Yao's bed and sat down, her voice filled with concern. This was Su Yao's mother. Su Yao studied the woman in front of her. She was basically a grown-up version of herself. Mom, I'm fine. I've had all the tests, and everything's normal. Maybe I've just been too tired lately and didn't get enough rest. I'm sorry to worry you. Su Yao reached out and took her mother's hand. It was rough, cracked, like old tree bark, worn by years of hard work. Have you been staying up late again? I've told you, staying up is so bad for your health. Su Yao's mother turned to look at Wang Meng, who was standing at the side. Yao, is this your classmate? It's so nice of him to visit so early. Auntie, hello. I'm Wang Meng, Su Yao's classmate. Wang Meng replied politely. Mom, after I fainted, he was the one who brought me to the hospital. You should thank him properly. No need, Auntie, it's nothing. Anyone would have done the same thing. Wang Meng quickly waved his hand, rejecting the thanks. As Su Yao recalled Wang Meng's obedient behavior in her previous life, when he always listened to her, her headache flared up again. It seemed that every time she thought about Wang Meng's actions as a love-struck fool in college, the pain in her head worsened. Su Yao rubbed her forehead with the palm of her hand when she suddenly heard a murmur from her mother. This shabby boy, clearly from the countryside, my daughter's taste couldn't be that bad. Could he really just be a classmate? He's not her boyfriend, right? Mom, how can you say that about Wang Meng? I'm mad. Su Yao glared at her mother, her voice sharp with reproach. What did I say? I didn't say anything. Su Yao's mother looked bewildered, as if she didn't understand what was happening. Did Yao start hearing things? I guess we should be more careful. We should go to a bigger hospital for a more thorough checkup. There was another murmur, and Su Yao noticed it came from her mother's chest. She looked up at her mother's mouth, but it was closed. What's going on? Can I hear other people's thoughts? A surge of excitement rose in Su Yao's heart. It seemed like fate was treating her well. Reincarnating into Su Yao's body might be a bit troublesome, but gaining the ability to hear people's thoughts was a golden opportunity. It made her feel that this second chance at life wasn't in vain. Oh, maybe I misheard, Su Yao covered. Mom, I'm fine now. I think I'm ready to be discharged. Chapter 7, The Teddy Dog Deji. In the afternoon, after completing all the discharge procedures, Su Yao sent her mother back to their hometown to take care of her younger sister, who was in her second year of high school. She was afraid that staying with her mother any longer might raise more suspicions. In her past life, she had been Wang Meng's devoted puppy for 4 years, so she was very familiar with Su Yao's personal personality and preferences, but she was only vaguely aware of Su Yao's various family and social connections. Now, the priority was to quickly get familiar with everything about Su Yao. When Su Yao was in college, she had a dog, and fearing that staying in the dorms would be inconvenient, she rented a one-bedroom apartment near the school, not living in the dorm. Wang Meng frequently sent her gifts to this address in her previous life, so it was deeply engraved in her memory. She returned to the rented apartment alone and took the keys from her bag to open the door. Woof! Woof woof woof! As soon as Su Yao entered and changed her shoes, a small teddy dog rushed to her feet, tugging at the leg of her jeans, seemingly furious. This dog Su Yao had brought it to school before for fun was called Deji, a little female dog. This dog's on something, why is it attacking its owner like this? Su Yao raised her foot and kicked the teddy a short distance away. But the dog refused to give up and ran back to bite again. Deji, stop it. If you bite me again, I'll hit you with this stick. Do you hear me? Su Yao grabbed a clothes pole from the wall and made a move to strike. Only then did Deji stop biting and whimper, retreating 2 steps. Seeing the dog's behavior, Su Yao thought, Su Yao already has this dog, why did I insist on becoming her puppy too? Maybe every time she looks at this teddy, she'll remember me. Suddenly, Su Yao's head began to throb sharply again. Though the pain was growing lighter, it was still very uncomfortable every time. Then, from the direction of the teddy dog, she heard a hysterical roar. This body is mine. It's mine. Give it back to me. Give it back to me. Su Yao was stunned. Not only could she hear people's thoughts, but now she could even hear a dog's thoughts. This golden finger is too powerful. Wait, this body is its? Did Su Yao's soul transfer into Deji's body? Su Yao, is that you? Su Yao tentatively asked the teddy dog. The dog nodded vigorously several times, emitting a sound only Su Yao could hear. It's me, I'm Su Yao. Who are you? Why have you taken over my body? I'm Wang Meng. I just woke up this morning and found myself in your body, Su Yao replied. Suddenly, she recalled a moment before her time travel when she had shouted at the meteor shower by the river, "Heaven, let me live my life again. And let Su Yao become a dog." At that time, she had been triggered by Su Yao's actions, cursing in frustration after wasting 4 years of youth in college. She hadn't expected that curse to come true, and now, Su Yao's soul had transferred into the dog she raised. This was too tragic. But somehow, Su Yao felt an inexplicable sense of joy and satisfaction flood through her, reaching the top of her head. Heaven really is watching. Now you'll taste what it's like to be a puppy in this life. Su Yao reflected deeply, leave a little room for others, and you'll meet again in the future. It's not that I haven't repaid, the time just was right. And look, it came right when I said it. Su Yao struggled to hold back her laughter, the corners of her mouth twitching. Taking a deep breath, she pretended to sympathize. What can we do about this? I don't know how to fix it either. It's really troubling. The teddy dog lay helplessly on the ground, whimpering, its tears rolling down from its dark, round eyes. Seeing this scene, Su Yao felt a twinge of unease in her heart. She stepped forward, crouched down, carefully picked up the teddy, and placed it on her lap, gently stroking its shiny fur to comfort it. But Deji suddenly fluffed up its fur and jumped up, running to the corner. Wang Meng, what are you doing touching me, you pervert? The sharp growl made Su Yao's heart skip a beat. This is way too dramatic. And by the way, wasn't he at your owner's hand touching you? Why such a big reaction? Su Yao's mind flashed a disturbing image, a naked female body, straddling Wang Meng's legs, with a rough, large man's hand moving from her shoulder blades to her waist. That image was just too erotic. Su Yao couldn't bear to look at the bare female dog, Deji, anymore. Maybe I should buy it a few outfits so it can change every day. It's a bit much for it to be running around naked in this apartment. If people from the opposite building see, they might even call the cops. That would definitely be a scandal. Standing up, Su Yao spoke softly to the teddy. I know you're really upset right now, but it's out of my hands. The night before I time traveled, I shouted at the meteor shower of Gemini, asking for a rebirth. Next time the meteor shower comes, maybe I'll try again to see if we can both travel back. But if we really go back, I'll have to face that awful midlife crisis again. Su Yao wasn't particularly eager for that. But her heart was too kind to let others suffer because of her. Even if this time travel was an accident. Chapter 8, Su Yao's Diary. The little teddy dog's eyes reignited with a spark of hope. Slowly, it stood up, walked over, and nudged Su Yao's ankle with its head in a gesture of friendliness. After all, the hope of returning to its original form rested on Wang Meng's awareness. What a dog! So, before that happens, you'd better behave, cooperate with me, and let us get along well, okay? Su Yao crouched down and pointed her right hand at the little female dog in the shape of a gun. The teddy dog, Deji, obediently nodded. It had no other choice. Very good. Su Yao stood up, stretched, and said, I'm so hungry. Let me see what's in the fridge. Deji, what would you like to eat? Opening the fridge, Su Yao found only a few eggs, a handful of noodles, and half a garlic bulb. It seemed that all of these had been in there for quite a while. After checking the noodles packaging, which was still within the expiration date, she brought them to the kitchen, turned on the stove, and cooked a bowl of egg noodles. In her previous life, Wang Meng was an only child, and his strong-willed mother handled all the household affairs, including Wang Meng's clothing and meals. He had never done housework since childhood, and his mild-mannered father had also become a hands-off manager. This made Wang Meng, a small-town student, completely unable to manage life skills before going to college. It wasn't until he met his future wife, Shangguan Jiyue, after graduation, that he began to learn. Although Shangguan Jiyue was even lazier than Wang Meng, she had a mild obsession with cleanliness and disliked eating outside food, thinking it was unclean. After some playful whining, flirting, and occasionally even using threats, Wang Meng was forced to learn how to cook, clean, and take care of things. Wang Meng approached everything with the same studious seriousness as if he were doing an exam. He became quite proficient in housework, displaying a talent for cooking and tidying up. After marriage, he took on most of the household chores. Even when he had to work overtime during the week, he would cook a whole meal and clean the house on weekends, treating it as a form of relaxation. Su Yao brought the cooked noodles to the dining table in the living room and ate them in large bites. The teddy dog, smelling the fragrance, walked over and sat next to the table. Its small, black eyes stared at Su Yao's noodles while its little red tongue occasionally flicked out to lick. Su Yao noticed the little female dog squatting beside her and guessed that it must be hungry. However, she couldn't hear any human-like sounds coming from the dog. She didn't think much about it and walked over to the dog bed in the corner of the living room. There was a full bowl of dog food, but it seemed untouched. Oh, even though you've turned into a dog, you still want to eat dog food. You've got to adjust to your dog life, Deji. Despite saying that, Su Yao went to the kitchen, washed an empty bowl, and divided her noodles in half. Just as she was about to put the bowl on the ground, Su Yao hesitated as she looked at the teddy dog and asked, how about you eat at the table too? Don't say I'm bullying you. The teddy dog nodded seriously. Why are you silent again? Su Yao pushed the bowl of noodles to the other side of the table, found a small, low stool, and helped the dog hop up onto it. She carefully moved both the dog and the stool to the table. Deji jumped down from the stool, walked up to the bowl, blew on the noodles, and then began eating them eagerly. After the meal, Su Yao went to the bedroom. The large bed, 2.2 meters wide, occupied half the room. Against the wall was a large wooden wardrobe and shoe rack, and by the window was a messy desk piled with textbooks and notebooks. Su Yao walked over to the desk and casually flipped through the notebooks. To her surprise, she found a thick diary. The diary started on the first day of school. Though each entry was short, sometimes just a few sentences, or longer when she had a particularly good mood or something memorable happened. The dates were sporadic. But for Su Yao, it was already enough. In her past life, as Wang Meng had been Su Yao's devoted puppy for 4 years, he knew all the small details of her life: what fruits she liked to eat, her favorite milk tea flavor, her shoe size, what gifts would make her happy, and even the days of her menstrual cycle, for which Wang Meng had downloaded an app to track. Of course, this was just to make Wang Meng feel more moved. Su Yao sat down at the desk, grabbed a small notebook, and began reading the diary while writing down other details she didn't know, as well as information about Su Yao's family and social relationships. The more she read, the wider her eyes opened. She flipped the pages faster and faster, her breathing becoming more rapid as her headache began to worsen again. Gripping the notebook, she quickly walked into the living room, opened a page, and shouted angrily at the teddy dog, who was napping on the sofa. "So, this is Su Yao. Turns out, since their first year of college, you've carefully selected targets and raised 3 puppies to be your backups, even giving them numbers. And I'm number 3. And your rich second-generation boyfriend. You hooked up with him this year? If I hadn't accidentally caught you in the act in the senior year, would you have wanted us to keep being your puppies until you got married? Your fish pond is too crowded, huh? You're really a time management master, keeping 4 fish at once. I really respect you. Damn it." Chapter 9, Su Yao's Diary 2. The teddy dog was stunned by the sudden outburst and froze in place. When it saw the notebook in Su Yao's hand, it finally reacted. Whimpering, it crawled into a corner of the sofa, acting pitiful. The familiar voice from the dog reached Su Yao's ears. "Why are you yelling? I was just a girl coming to a strange city for college. I felt lonely. I didn't have many female friends, and when I saw you guys getting close, I thought I'd test you all first. As for my boyfriend, we had just started dating, and we fought a lot. I thought, if we ever broke up, I'd just pick one of you 3 who treated me well and make him my boyfriend. Isn't that a good idea?" Su Yao became even angrier. Her hand holding the notebook trembled as she cursed furiously. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking, you slut. You're a woman who's juggling for men at once. A liar. Turning you into a dog is a blessing from the heavens. You still want to go back? I'll tell you there's no chance." Su Yao stormed back to the bedroom and slammed the door shut with a bang. Her chest heaved with anger as she threw the diary onto the ground with a snap, then sprawled out on the bed. "Wang Meng, how blind you were in college, sticking with a person like this for 4 years. Your pure and flawless white moonlight has long been someone else's black fungus on their bed." After a while, Su Yao finally calmed down, her headache subsiding. She realized there seemed to be a pattern. Every time she recalled her past life as a puppy, her head would ache uncontrollably, and she could hear the thoughts of women's hearts. The headaches she had experienced today confirmed this pattern, which seemed to be the golden finger her rebirth had given her. Su Yao decided to give this powerful golden finger a name: asking the females. Activating asking the females allowed her to see the hidden secrets of any woman's heart, making her the most understanding friend they could have. With this power, Su Yao's charm with women would be unmatched. Plus, now that she was in a female body, she could get as close to them as she wanted, whether it was soaking in hot springs together, playing pillow fights, or cuddling up to sleep. She could do anything. As for men, they wouldn't get any advantage from Su Yao's current body. "Keep your distance, I'm not into that." In her past life, Wang Meng had spent 4 years loyally waiting for Su Yao, only to end up as a huge joke. This time, Su Yao was determined to build a massive fish pond. With this thought in mind, Su Yao excitedly sat up from the bed, picked up the notebook from the floor, and flipped to a new page at her desk. She wrote today's date and added a new entry. "From today onward, I'll dump men, pursue women, and enjoy this body to the fullest. I'm going to be the modern-day Wu Ziqian, with a harem of thousands of beauties. The first thing I need to do is dump my rich second-generation boyfriend and the 2 other poor puppies." To avoid unnecessary trouble, Su Yao knew she had to act quickly and safely to reach her goal without exposing her Sea Queen identity or getting entangled in messy situations. She found herself struggling with this, so she reviewed the previous entries in her diary to devise an effective strategy. Dog number 1, Lin Yuchang, was a sunny, cheerful boy who worked part-time at a coffee shop near the university. He was a second-year senior. Su Yao often went to that coffee shop last semester, and over time, she managed to charm him. Lin Yuchang was very romantic and caring, often giving thoughtful gifts like his homemade coffee beans, hand-sewn teddy bears, and even cartoon self-portraits, all accompanied by love-filled little cards. Dog number 1 mainly fulfilled Su Yao's fantasies of romance. Dog number 2, Xiao Zhan, a third-year athlete at the university, was passionate about fitness. According to the diary, he had an amazing physique, 8-pack abs and a height of 180 centimeters. His boyfriend energy and protective instincts made Su Yao feel incredibly safe when standing next to him. Xiao Zhan often took Su Yao to try extreme sports like bungee jumping and rock climbing, which brought excitement and thrills to her life. Dog number 2 primarily satisfied Su Yao's need for security and novelty. Dog number 3 was Wang Meng, whose diary entries were the shortest, describing him as wooden, old-fashioned, easily fooled, and endearingly naive. Su Yao hadn't kicked him out of the fish pond because Wang Meng was obedient and in the same class. He brought her breakfast, saved seats, helped with sign ins, and even brought her medicine or late-night snacks. He also fed the dog when she went out with other men. Of course, his willingness to buy expensive gifts during holidays was also important. It seemed that the existence of dog number 3 was primarily for Su Yao's convenience. The rich second-generation Mu Xiaolong, who was also a freshman at a university in a nearby city, had been thoroughly investigated by Su Yao. He was the youngest son of Mu Qianlong, the chairman of a listed group, with assets worth over $1 billion. However, Mu Xiaolong despised business and refused to help manage his family's company. He preferred painting and enjoying the world of anime. Su Yao had met him at a comic convention when she substituted for a sick friend and cosplayed as a ship girl, a character Mu Xiaolong adored. That's how they got together. He appeared cold on the outside, but was emotionally oblivious and had no experience with relationships. Su Yao was his first love. Chapter 10, Becoming Su Yao Again. Maintaining a long-distance relationship for 4 years in college, Su Yao had put in a lot of effort. After graduation, in her previous life, Wang Meng had heard that although Su Yao was with the rich second-generation Mu Xiaolong, she had never been accepted by his parents and relatives. They saw right through her ambition and constantly tried to introduce Mu Xiaolong to other high-society young women. However, Mu Xiaolong seemed to be brainwashed by Su Yao and was determined to marry only her. Su Yao could not get the approval of his parents, so she aggressively pressured him with the threat of a pregnancy, forcing him to marry her after 4 months of pregnancy, finally stepping into their wealthy family. The in-laws were naturally resentful. Though they allowed her to live in the Mu household, they refused to let her register their marriage or hold a wedding, nor did they provide her with a nanny. She had to take care of the child herself and do all their housework. Every time the family went out for a banquet, she was left behind, receiving cold treatment from her husband's family. Fortunately, Su Yao's pregnancy was successful, and despite repeated C-sections, she managed to have 3 sons in 5 years. The wealthy family valued male heirs, and with each child, she gained more status. Finally, when the time was right, she managed to get a marriage certificate, held a wedding with her 3 children, and successfully ascended the social ladder, crossing class boundaries and gaining respect in the family. After much hardship, she saw the light. Closing her notebook, Su Yao felt a sense of reflection. The Su Yao of her past life was adept at using her looks and gender to her advantage, mastering the art of playing the green tea role, extracting huge benefits from men. Though the process of marrying into a wealthy family was difficult, she ultimately got what she wanted. This time around, Su Yao didn't need to live such a hard life or rely on men. She could easily become part of a wealthy family on her own. After all, Su Yao was a reborn person, and with the advantage of the information gap, making a fortune was not difficult. So, Su Yao added a new line to her diary. Make money, and make big money with Wang Meng. At this point, Su Yao's future goals were clear. Simply put, they were 6 words. Make big money, build a harem. As for ditching Mu Xiaolong and the 2 puppies, Su Yao already had a plan in mind. Su Yao walked to the wardrobe, undid her clothes, and assessed her nearly nude body in the full-length mirror. Her golden wavy hair fell down to her waist. Her delicate, 3-dimensional features seemed almost mixed race, with Korean-style semi-permanent willow leaf eyebrows, almond-shaped eyes, a slender nose, and full, seductive lips that made anyone want to kiss them. Her V-shaped face was charming, with parallel clavicles and pear-shaped breasts that stood firm and pink. Paired with a slender waist and long legs, any man would be attracted. To juggle for men at once, one must have the looks and figure to match. In school, Su Yao was clearly head and shoulders above the rest. Su Yao ran her fingers over her smooth, flawless skin. Being young was such a blessing, and her body was naturally beautiful. She was a walking clothes hanger. Su Yao selected a white women's shirt and a pair of denim hotpants from the wardrobe, tucking the hem of the shirt into her waist and cinching it with a thin leather belt that accentuated her waist and hips. She completed the outfit with white sneakers and left the house with vibrant energy. From the morning until now, she had received 3 or 4 messages from her puppy camp on QQ, as well as 2 missed calls and 1 text from her boyfriend. Su Yao opted for the cold treatment, ignoring them all. She called Wang Meng and arranged to meet him at the cafe diagonally across from the school entrance. Su Yao walked into the cafe, and as she was about to order 2 cups of coffee at the counter, she heard a gentle call, "Su Yao." Looking up, she saw the cheerful young man from behind the bar coming toward her with a smile. He leaned down toward her, close enough for her to see a small mole between his eyebrows. "You little rascal, you haven't replied to my QQ messages since last night. I thought something had happened to you." The young man's voice was warm and friendly. He turned around and carefully brought out a delicate strawberry cake from the glass display behind the counter. It had a pink heart-shaped chocolate piece on top with the initials SY written on it. "This is a new strawberry chocolate cake I made today, especially for you. Let me know what you think after you try it." Looking at the bright and sunny young man in front of her, Su Yao knew he was dog number 1, Lin Yuchang, as recorded in her diary. "I don't need it. My boyfriend will be here soon. If he sees it, he'll get jealous," Su Yao said, pushing the cake back toward Lin Yuchang with a serious expression. Since they had met, Su Yao decided to end this here. "Young man, long pain is worse than short pain. Take this rejection, and stop being my puppy. You'll find happiness in the future." "What, you have a boyfriend?" Lin Yuchang asked, shocked and unable to believe it. "Didn't we agree to be each other's guardian angels? I was just joking with you." "You actually took it seriously," Su Yao said with a smile. "All right, from now on, don't bother me. Go find your true love. I'm not worthy of your kindness." Su Yao waved her hand at Lin Yuchang, who was still frozen in place, and saw Wang Meng walking in. She immediately stepped forward and linked her arm with his, putting him in front of Lin Yuchang. "This is my boyfriend, Wang Meng." Lin Yuchang looked up and down at Wang Meng with a contemptuous look in his eyes. "Su Yao, this country bumpkin can't possibly be your boyfriend. Why are you lying to me?" Chapter 11 becomes Su Yao again. Point 2. Su Yao glanced at Wang Meng beside her. He had a middle-parted haircut, a too large jacket similar to a school uniform, and was dressed like a high school student in a small town. No wonder Lin Yuchang didn't believe that Su Yao would choose Wang Meng as her boyfriend, unless she was blind. But the arrow was on the string, and Su Yao had no choice. "Senior, please don't misunderstand me. Su Yao is my..." Wang Meng hurriedly explained, and Su Yao quickly interrupted, "I am his childhood sweetheart. We grew up together and have long been in love with each other. I don't care about a man's handsome appearance. I value his diligence and pragmatism more." Wang Meng wanted to explain, but when he turned around and saw Su Yao glaring at him fiercely, he immediately shut up. Lin Yuchang saw this scene and sighed, "Su Yao, if I did something wrong and made you unhappy, you can just tell me directly. Why bother to play this drama in front of me? I will not give up my pursuit of you. Even if you really have a boyfriend, I don't mind. I treat you well, and it has nothing to do with you." When Su Yao heard this, it was like looking in the mirror at her past self, knowing that Lin Yuchang would not wake up after being given a drug of love for a while. Just keep leaving him alone, and his fantasy will naturally be shattered after being left alone for too long. "It's up to you, just don't bother me in the future." After saying this, Su Yao took Wang Meng's hand and quickly walked out of the cafe. The two found a milk tea shop and sat down. Su Yao ordered a cup of papaya juice. Su Yao had a well-proportioned and thin figure, and she looked good in clothes, but her chest was less than 400 grams, and the touch was a little bad. Su Yao decided to try diet therapy to see the effect. While drinking papaya juice, Su Yao talked to Wang Meng about the various discoveries in the diary, and Wang Meng spit out milk tea several times, saying, "Fuck. There is no end to licking the sea, but turning back is the shore." Su Yao sighed, biting the straw habitually. "We are both people who have fallen on hard times. In order to save the poor lickers and that second-generation rich man who got taken advantage of, you have to temporarily pretend to be Su Yao's boyfriend until you get rid of them completely. But you are really unbearable to look at in this outfit, so I will pay for you to buy you some decent clothes, 2 pairs of shoes, and let Tony fix your hair. I have a good figure and looks, not inferior to those seniors and rich second generations, and you are more than enough to match Su Yao. In the future, you will be with your brother, and you will be indispensable in eating delicious food and drinking spicy drinks. Wang Meng's sleepy eyes shone with light, and he moved his chair forward and said, "Okay, brother, can you tell me what happened in my college years? And what did I do after graduation? Did you get married and have children? Is your wife pretty?" It would take 3 days and 3 nights to talk about these things in detail. I'll talk to you slowly when I have time. The most important thing now is that we have to make money, a lot of money. Su Yao leaned back in her chair and smiled sweetly. I am a reborn person. All the money-making opportunities in this life are in my mind. Brothers, you and I will join forces to make 100 million first. Wang Meng was greatly encouraged by Su Yao's firm and confident eyes. Although he didn't know the specific plan, the person in front of him was his future self. Wang Meng had 100% trust in him, not to mention that it was the body of the goddess he had admired before. Brother, I will just follow you. I will do whatever you tell me to do. I can do any dirty or tiring work without any complaints. Wang Meng stated his position. So what should we do next? Su Yao saw Wang Meng's gaze and moved it down to her looming chest. She deliberately unbuttoned one more button to let Wang Meng take a good look at her beautiful curves. She knew that Wang Meng liked women with plump breasts since he was a child. Although the breasts on her body were only B-size, they were enough to make Wang Meng, who was still a virgin, bleed from his nose. Shop. Coming out of the men's clothing store, Wang Meng was wearing an avant-garde short side-parted hairstyle, a dark blue suit with a light-colored vertical striped shirt underneath, the hem of his pants tucked into the waistband of his slim-fitting jeans, and a pair of shiny black leather shoes. His spirit and energy were instantly lifted, attracting the attention of the young ladies passing by. It has to be said that after a makeover and a decent outfit, the young Wang Meng is no less handsome than the young stars in the entertainment industry. It is a pity that with such good genes, he has buried his beauty for so many years because of poverty and lack of knowledge of how to take care of himself. Handsome. Look, the girl opposite is staring at you with her eyes wide open. With your figure and looks, you're unworthy, Su Yao. Su Yao flattered Wang Meng. Now she wanted to give Wang Meng more confidence and get rid of their humble mentality of a bootlicker as soon as possible. A big part of the reason why lickers are humble and have low self-esteem is that they lack self-confidence. They think that goddesses are superior to them and it is an honor to carry shoes for them. They always cater to them with an attitude of looking up to them. The reason why those so-called tall, rich and handsome men have constant peach blossom luck is that in addition to their own good conditions, more importantly, they have the self-confidence from the inside out that allows them to look at beauties at eye level or even look down on them. Women naturally admire and follow strong men, even if they are pretending. Chapter 12, Making Money, starting from closing the stall. Therefore, as important as making money is to bring Wang Meng up, both externally and internally. He needs to be honed and trained more in society. In this process, he will develop certain business talents, including the ability to communicate and negotiate, to give speeches, and to persuade, because these abilities are the cornerstones for leaders who will manage billion-dollar companies in the future. Otherwise, even if he makes more money by using the information gap of rebirth or the golden finger, Wang Meng will not be able to keep his wealth if his mentality and ability are not improved. Su Yao herself also lacks these abilities. Before traveling through time, she had always been a wage earner and had no entrepreneurial experience. As an ordinary person, in any era, it would be difficult for her to become rich in a short period of time relying solely on herself. Su Yao also considered a most stable project to make a lot of money, what appreciated the fastest and was the most valuable in the first 20 years of the 21st century commercial housing, especially school district housing. Jinshan Community, not far from Heisi University, is adjacent to the university town and has the blessing of a degree from the Heisi City Key Primary School branch. It will soon usher in a huge appreciation in the next 3 to 5 years. But there is a huge problem with buying a house to get rich. Buying a house requires hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, and she and Wang Meng are still students. Without a guarantor, applying for a bank loan will usually be rejected. And the process of buying a house to realize its value is in years, which means that the money will be tight for a long time. So when there is insufficient funds, investing in a house first is not the best choice. The biggest problem now is that there is too little startup capital to get rich. Su Yao knew that Wang Meng only had 1,000 yuan a month for living expenses when he was in college. After deducting the credit card installments, rent, and food expenses from her account, there was only 6,000 yuan left, which was quite tight. It is best to hold on to a strong thigh and take out a part of the shares to attract capital for angel investment, which requires a sufficiently attractive entrepreneurial project. When the entrepreneurial project accumulates enough original capital, and then uses the idle funds to invest in real estate projects, you can definitely make a lot of money. This entrepreneurial project must be closely integrated with the urban development plan of Haixi City, and use the gimmick of college students starting their own businesses to obtain sufficient policy support from schools and governments, including but not limited to office and business premises, low-interest loans, entrepreneurial support bonuses, and the network resources needed for entrepreneurship, etc. As long as you are good at taking advantage of the situation and standing at the outlet of the wind, even pigs can fly. Let's go to the Haixi Ancient Street. The Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street is a landmark tourist attraction that Maritime Silk Road City will focus on building in the next 10 years and one of the most dazzling city cards of Maritime Silk Road City. It is said to have originated in the Song dynasty and is equivalent to the high-ranking officials' residential area and rich area of the ancient Maritime Silk Road City. It has a history of more than 1,000 years and has produced many celebrities. Due to age and lack of maintenance, the original buildings along the street have long been dilapidated, and many wooden houses have even collapsed. Since 2006, the Haixi municipal government has allocated a large amount of funds for antique restoration, invited ancient building experts to redesign, and hired skilled craftsmen from all over the country in an attempt to reproduce the style of the ancient alleys. Now the buildings on both sides of the central axis of the Haixi Ancient Street have been basically repaired, and some shops have been rented out to businesses. It has begun to gain some popularity, but because the alleys on both sides of the ancient street are still under construction and restoration, the supporting infrastructure is not perfect, and publicity has not been done well. It is mainly the local people of Haixi City who come for a walk after get off work, and there are almost no foreign tourists. Su Yao and Wang Meng looked around casually along the street. Except for 2 or 3 old local specialty snack shops and a milk tea shop that had some customers, other shops were deserted. They walked from the end of the ancient street to the entrance and found the investment promotion office next to the majestic Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street archway. A middle-aged woman in a professional suit was playing with her mobile phone on the sofa. Su Yao and Wang Meng walked in and carefully looked at the future plan of the Haixi Ancient Street on the project Sand Table. As a reborn person, Su Yao knew that the government would devote huge resources to building this historical and cultural district in the next 3 years, and the passenger flow would soon usher in explosive growth. Now that it has just taken shape, it is a good opportunity to lay out in advance and seize the opportunity. Su Yao walked to the middle-aged woman who was playing with her phone, sat down generously, and asked in a gentle voice of a young girl, "Sister, do you still have shops for rent? We want to see which locations are available." The middle-aged woman looked up at the 2 young men in front of her, put her phone on the small table in front of the sofa, and replied coldly, "There are about 10 more shops, all of which are relatively large, more than 60 square meters. Our investment management office requires the lessee to pay a deposit of 100,000 before signing the lease contract." 100,000, how can we afford that much money? Wang Meng thought, even if we rent a store that is over 60 square meters, what can we do with it? "Sister, it's no problem. My father runs a handicraft factory that processes things like glass and jade. He asked me to come here in advance and pick a store with the best location in Haixi Ancient Street, and then open a branch here. Among these stores, which one has the highest rent per square meter?" Chapter 13, Take Down 3 Pavilions. Wang Meng stared at Su Yao with wide eyes and looked at her in surprise, wondering if Su's father had been driving a truck all year round. When did he start doing handicraft wholesale business? And he wanted to open a branch in Haixi Ancient Street. Su Yao was talking and laughing. In her previous life, she couldn't find a job when she graduated, so she sold insurance for 2 years, visiting unfamiliar customers almost every day to develop new customers. Bluffing is just basic cold calling rhetoric. The middle-aged woman brought Su Yao to the sand table and pointed to a place about 200 meters below the entrance of the ancient street. Her voice became obviously enthusiastic. "Girl, take a look at this shop. It has an area of 85 square meters and the rent is 300 yuan per square meter. In addition to the traffic on the main street, there is also traffic on Yijin Lane and Juanyuanfang on both sides. The more popular the shop is, the more money it makes. It's perfect to open a handicraft shop here. The location of this store is really good. I'll take a picture and report to my dad when I get back. Su Yao picked up her phone and took 2 photos of the sand table, then pointed at Wang Meng. My classmate Wang Meng is the person in charge of the Maritime Silk Road University Entrepreneurship Base. He wants to rent out a few stalls in the Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street for several entrepreneurial teams to use. I see there are a few small square pavilions near this store. Are they also for rent? Young people nowadays are really creative. Although each of the pavilions in the middle of this ancient street is only 4 square meters in area, all 4 sides can be used as display windows. You can go to the street to have a look later. How is the rent calculated? As for rent, a kiosk costs 2,000 yuan a month. The 3 kiosks near the store you chose are all looking for rent. These locations are very popular right now, so act quickly. Okay, sister, thank you for recommending such a great location to us. Wang Meng, let's rent all 3 pavilions and let the 3 entrepreneurial teams move in. What do you think? Su Yao blinked at Wang Meng, her pair of black pearl-like eyes sparkling with excitement under her long eyelashes. Wang Meng nodded obediently in agreement, thinking that he would not go wrong if he listened to his elder brother. You want all 3? The middle-aged woman hesitated for a moment. Okay, 1 deposit and 3 payments. The ancient street is still under renovation this month, so I'll start paying the rent next month. Okay, then I'll pay a deposit of 6,000 yuan first, and then I'll pay 18,000 yuan on the 31st of this month. Su Yao took out a savings card from her wallet. I'll go print out the contract. The contract period is for 1 year. The rent will be adjusted after 1 year. You can then consider whether to renew the contract. The middle-aged woman walked to the office area and started operating on the computer. Wang Meng felt guilty and whispered to Su Yao, "What are you going to do with 3 pavilions at once? How can we have an entrepreneurial team? Where can we get 18,000 yuan to pay the rent at the end of the month? I will only use 1, and sublet the other 2. The price is super low now. Next month, the ancient street will be renovated, and Maritime Silk Road City will hold a tourism festival. The main battlefield will be on the Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street. It will be crowded with people, and the rent will be increased by at least 1,000 yuan. The locations of our 3 pavilions are the best, and the other 2 pavilions can be easily sublet. Then we can get a pavilion for free for a year. Where can you find such a good thing?" Su Yao replied in a low voice. "How can you be so sure? What if the price doesn't increase next month? What if there are no tourists from other places coming to the tourism festival?" Wang Meng still had doubts and looked worried. When doing business, there are always risks, but the opportunities outweigh the risks. I am still a reborn person. Trust me, just do it. Su Yao was certain that Wang Meng's roommate in his previous life worked part-time in Jiu Street and often came back to the dormitory to talk about the situation here. With vague memories, it was worth a try. After signing the contract, the 2 took the bus back to Maritime Silk Road University. Su Yao asked Wang Meng to go back to the dormitory and turn on the computer, and put the rental information of the 2 pavilions on a certain platform at a price of 3,000 yuan per month each, and attached real-life photos taken on site. There are still about 10 days until the 1st of next month, so of course no one will make a deal at this price, but once the tourism festival starts next month, she believes that there will be an endless stream of people wanting to rent the house. Leave your contact information now and post it online in advance to warm up the market. By then there will be more competitors, and people may be vying for the price of 3,500-4,000 yuan per month. When doing business, the most important thing is to buy low and sell high, and earn the difference in price. This is the natural behavior of businessmen. Su Yao was walking back to her rental house. She felt her pocket and found 500 yuan for food. Apart from that, she had no money left. Previously, Su Yao's rich second-generation boyfriend Mu Xiaolong would transfer 20,000 yuan to her bank card on the 1st of every month. Su Yao plans to cancel the card tomorrow to end her financial relationship with him. Precisely because she had this rich boyfriend, Su Yao hadn't asked her family for living expenses for more than half a year. The source of income from her previous life was basically cut off, so Su Yao now had to think of more ways to make money, otherwise, let alone making a lot of money, she wouldn't even be able to pay the rent. Su Yao arrived at the gate of the community and saw a snack stand selling grilled sausages. She had been running around for the entire afternoon and was indeed a little hungry, so she bought 2 skewers. She put one in a transparent plastic bag and ate the other in her hand. They tasted quite delicious. Chapter 14. A Samoyed follows. As soon as she entered the community, Su Yao saw a white Samoyed running towards her. It used its front paws to pull at Su Yao's trouser leg in a flattering manner and drooled at the sausages in the bag. Su Yao is not afraid of dogs. Although this Samoyed is a little dirty, its fur is shiny in the clean places, so its owner must have fed it carefully. Looking at its round eyes and the way it tilted its head and looked at her stupidly, Su Yao took out the still hot sausage from the plastic bag, blew on it to cool it down, then squatted down and fed it into the Samoyed's mouth. The Samoyed swallowed the food in 2 gulps. He was indeed hungry. After eating, let's go home, Tilder. Su Yao touched the Samoyed's round head, stood up and walked towards the building where the rental house was located. Woof! Woof! The Samoyed trotted over following Su Yao and climbed the stairs happily. Let's go home. We've finished eating all the sausages. There's no more. Su Yao walked up to the Samoyed and pointed to the open space in the community. Let's go. Go back where you came from. Don't follow us anymore. The Samoyed stuck out its long pink tongue, panted and came over to act cute, with no intention of going downstairs at all. Su Yao turned around and quickly went upstairs, taking 2 steps at a time, and rushed to the 4th floor, but the Samoyed ran faster, as if racing with her, and ran ahead of her in advance and arrived at the door of Su Yao's rental house. It seems that this dog is following me. I will take it into their house first and post a photo of it in the community group to see if any owner comes to claim it. Su Yao gave up driving him away, opened the security door and let the Samoyed in. As soon as she turned around and locked the door, she heard Teddy's angry barking in the house. Su Yao looked back and saw that the Samoyed excitedly wanted to come up and play with the little Teddy, but the Teddy dog bared its teeth, warned it with a sharp and rapid bark, and repeatedly backed away, so the Samoyed did not pounce on it. Su Yao heard the roar of the little bitch Deji. Wang Meng, you bastard, you are living in my house now, why do you take the initiative to bring a dog in? Woo woo, it's going to pounce on me, Wang Meng, take it away quickly. Su Yao went forward and hugged the Samoyed. She saw the small protrusion between its 2 hind legs and tried to hold back her smile. It's a little boy. I was wondering why he was so interested in you right away. I can't do anything about it. As soon as I got back to the community, it stuck to me like a dog's skin plaster and I couldn't get rid of it. I had to let it in. You should go to the bedroom first to hide. I can't hold it back any longer. The little Teddy quickly ran into Su Yao's bedroom. Su Yao stood up and quickly closed the bedroom door, thus blocking the Samoyed that rushed over outside. I don't care, you have to get rid of it today, otherwise I will shit on the bed. I want to see how you sleep at night. A woman's almost roaring cry came from inside the door. What a crazy woman. Su Yao posted a photo of a Samoyed in the community QQ group and asked whose dog it was. After waiting for a long time, no one responded. An enthusiastic homeowner said, I have never seen this dog in the community before. It is probably a lost dog outside. What should I do? If I don't send the Samoyed away tonight, the woman in the bedroom will get desperate and shit on the bed. It will be so smelly. But she couldn't bear to throw the Samoyed outside and look at its dirty fur. Su Yao had no choice but to call Wang Meng and ask him if he had a place where she could put a dog overnight. Wang Meng thought about it and said that one of his roommates rented a house outside and also liked to keep a dog, so it should not be a problem to send the dog over to stay for a few nights. Su Yao breathed a sigh of relief, went to the bathroom to give the Samoyed a shower, and used a hair dryer to dry the thick dog hair. It took more than 2 hours to make the Samoyed clean and refreshed. Finally, she took a large bag of dog food for the Teddy dog and sent the dog to his roommate's rental house with Wang Meng. The morning light shone through the screen window onto the bed in the bedroom. Su Yao slowly opened her eyes and stretched her right hand towards the bottom road as usual. There was no tower defense and only a canyon, which made Su Yao's heart tremble. After a few seconds, I breathed a sigh of relief, remembering that I was now a girl, and I moved my hands upwards. The soft and elastic feeling made me feel very relaxed. Su Yao kneaded the papayas for more than 10 minutes, but always felt that the weight in her hands was not enough. It seemed that she had to wholesale a few large bags of papayas, buy a juicer, and drink a glass of papaya juice every morning and evening, hoping to water A and grow it into B, and get some benefits for her hands. I thought it would be easy to make money after rebirth, watching those cool dramas where I could make millions of dollars with just one shot. But in reality, I was completely unprepared to be reborn in college. As a poor student, I had no money, no connections, no background, and no resources. It was still difficult to become rich overnight. I can't remember lottery numbers, have no idea about stock market ups and downs, and have no funds for real estate investment. The three legendary things that make me rich are all useless. Stocks and real estate only know an upward trend, and it takes a certain amount of money and time for them to appreciate. Su Yao is currently penniless. If she wants to quickly accumulate her first pot of gold, the realistic choice is to honestly take advantage of the information gap and learn how to do business. Once the business has grown to a certain scale, it will be possible to borrow money from the bank using the company's assets and cash flow as collateral and to trick investors into investing money. With the snowball effect, there is no way to stop getting rich quickly. Chapter 15: A Large Reward. Su Yao made up her mind to find a good project to open a store and register the company as soon as possible. After washing up, Su Yao put on a pure black short t-shirt and denim hot pants, and put on a clover shell head. When she looked in the mirror, her flowing long hair was an eyesore no matter how she looked at it. Last night, I spent almost an hour washing and blow drying my hair. The weather is getting hotter and hotter, and my long hair is like a cotton hat from northeast China. Su Yao did not hesitate and found a barber shop outside the community downstairs and asked the aunt to cut her hair into ear-level short hair in one go. Looks much more energetic. With Su Yao's delicate face, he is cool and handsome. Su Yao was very satisfied with her new hairstyle. She bought a pack of cigarettes at the canteen and walked slowly to the university cafeteria for breakfast. This girl has no addiction to smoking, but Su Yao always feels like something is missing in her mouth, and she feels uncomfortable without something in her mouth. At the entrance of the cafeteria, Su Yao saw a missing dog notice posted on a pillar. She looked closely and found that this was the Samoyed that followed her into the house yesterday. Finally, your owner was found. A generous reward. A reward of 10,000 yuan for providing clues to the missing dog, and a reward of 50,000 yuan for helping to find the dog. Su Yao's eyes lit up. Good luck just came. It can be seen that the owner loves this dog very much. This kind of good thing is like winning the lottery, and it fell on Su Yao, who was short of money. Su Yao dialed the contact number above, and a young woman's magnetic voice came from the other end of the phone. Hello. I think I found your dog. Really? Where is my Xiaobai? Tell me quickly. You can tell that the other party is very excited. It's near the school. Where are you? I'll bring it to you. Half an hour later, Su Yao and Wang Meng met at the school gate. Wang Meng's eyes widened. You cut your hair? Where is my goddess with long flowing hair? Forget about Su Yao, brother. Why are you still calling her goddess? Su Yao choked. I hope your feelings for her will be like your long hair. Cut it off with a click. Don't worry, I won't let it grow back. The two of them took the dog out from Wang Meng's roommate and brought it to the entrance of the administrative building where they had agreed to meet the dog's owner. After waiting for 10 minutes, the dog owner still didn't show up. Su Yao felt like smoking, so she took out the cigarette she had just bought from her pocket, took out a cigarette and put it in her mouth, but didn't light it. Wang Meng was about to say something when his eyes met Su Yao's. Su Yao saw that his eyes were not right and spoke first. Shut up. I'm just talking, not smoking. A long-haired beauty wearing a gorgeous crimson dress and carrying a brand name bag came over in high heels, squatted down and hugged the Samoyed's neck affectionately, her eyes full of joy. Xiaobai, where have you been? Do you know how worried I am about you? What would I do without you? The Samoyed also rubbed its owner's cheek happily and jumped around her. After a long while, the long-haired beauty looked up at Su Yao and Wang Meng, stood up, and thanked them. Thanks to you, Xiaobai is like a family member to me. It has been missing for 3 days, and I have not slept well in the past 2 nights. I just smelled the fragrance of shower gel on Xiaobai. You are so thoughtful and even gave it a bath. The long-haired beauty paused. The V neckline of her long skirt was very low, and her towering breasts that were about to burst out were particularly dazzling. I will pay you the reward you deserve according to the promise on the missing dog notice. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Nalan Mingxue, the person in charge of the school's entrepreneurship incubation base. Are you students of Maritime Silk Road University? Su Yao then put the cigarette in her pocket and said slowly, Yes, Teacher Mingxue, we are freshmen from the School of Environment. I am Su Yao, and the handsome guy next to me is Wang Meng. Har har, handsome guy, you must be the boyfriend of the pretty girl next to you. Nalan Mingxue laughed like a silver bell. Her lightly made-up face was full of collagen, and she looked to be in her early 20s. No. No, teacher, we are just ordinary friends, not a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Wang Meng hurriedly explained. Apart from being Su Yao's shield in front of Mu Xiaolong, Su Yao said that in front of other people they should just be friends with the opposite sex and not block Wang Meng's luck in love. We are good brothers. We are also business partners. Su Yao patted Wang Meng's shoulder with her right hand and laughed. Teacher Mingxue, I just heard you say that you are the person in charge of our university's entrepreneurship incubation base. Wang Meng and I are also considering starting a business. Can you take us to visit the entrepreneurship base? Of course, no problem, come with me. Nalan Mingxue agreed readily. After passing through a group of teaching buildings, the group came to a magnificent building beside an artificial lake, with 5 large characters Longting Entrepreneurship Building inscribed on it. Nalan Mingxue took Su Yao and Wang Meng to visit each floor of the incubation base in turn. The first floor was an exhibition hall for college students' entrepreneurial achievements. The large flat on the second floor was divided into many single rooms, which were used as office areas for various entrepreneurial teams. The third and fourth floors were laboratories and simple machine tool processing workshops provided for various technical teams. As a key university with a focus on science and engineering, Maritime Silk Road University mainly relies on technological research and development and innovation to implement commercialization. Currently, more than 30 entrepreneurial teams have settled in the incubation base, producing more than 100 technological achievements, most of which have been connected to commercial applications of enterprises. Longting Group donated this building and is naturally the biggest beneficiary of the incubation results. Many research directions are also customized for the major industries of Longting Group. Nalan Mingxue knows everything about the entrepreneurial incubation base and is very professional. This beauty, who looks like the daughter of a wealthy family, is both beautiful and capable, and most importantly, she is very hardworking, which makes Su Yao very fond of her. As they were talking, a girl with twin ponytails wearing a JK uniform came over and spread out a document in her hand. Vice President, here is an urgent document that needs your signature. Vice President? Isn't Nalan Mingxue a teacher at the school? Su Yao kept muttering in her heart, which company's vice president? Nalan Mingxue picked up the pen handed to her by the girl with twin ponytails, unscrewed the pen cap, quickly glanced at the document, signed her name at the end of the document quite skillfully, closed the folder, and handed it to the girl waiting beside her. You're not a teacher? Why does she call you vice president? Wang Meng couldn't help but ask. Meng Shui is the deputy general manager of Longting Group, the investor of the incubation base. Our office area is also on the second floor. The deputy general manager likes the campus environment and basically works here. He only goes to the group headquarters for offline meetings. The cute girl with twin ponytails spoke quickly and rushed to explain the whole story. Chapter 16 Recruiting Entrepreneurial Team. Nalan Mingxue smiled calmly. What deputy general manager? I just hold the title but do nothing. I usually just sign documents and hold meetings. They do all the detailed work. I like staying on campus, looking at the innocent looks of the boys and girls, and by the way, finding some young talents for the group and signing them before graduation. That's my only role. The first time Su Yao saw Nalan Mingxue, she felt that this woman was no ordinary person. She never expected that she was the vice president of Longting Group, which was ranked among the top 3 in Heisi City. Don't follow that little girl and call me vice president. Just call me Teacher Mingxue. I think this title is good. I want everyone in the entrepreneurship base to call me that. Nalan Mingxue's eyes were moving and her smile was sweet. She didn't have the airs of an executive at all. Teacher Mingxue, I have a suggestion for the entrepreneurial incubation base. Su Yao decided to embrace this beautiful leg of capital. Well, you say. Su Yao said, I see that the entrepreneurship base is full of incubation technology teams, and although Maritime Silk Road University is characterized by science and engineering, it is also a comprehensive university that emphasizes both arts and sciences. I suggest that we absorb a few more cultural and creative, communication, and film and television teams to make the incubation base more diversified, which also complies with the overall plan of Maritime Silk Road City to build a tourist city in the future. Nalan Mingxue pinched her chin and looked at Su Yao with admiration. Su Yao, you are such a lovely girl, and your ideas coincide with mine. I am recruiting entrepreneurial teams in the liberal arts at school, and Longton Group also needs a large number of management and business talents. At the same time, this year we also have tourism projects in cooperation with the government. Every point of yours is in line with mine, and I really like you more and more. Otherwise, you can also come to the entrepreneurship incubation base to be my part-time secretary, and I will pay you a salary of 5,000 per month. You can be so willful if you have money. You should know that the average monthly salary of college graduates in 2008 was only 2,000 or 3,000 yuan. 5,000 yuan is already a medium salary level that workers can barely reach after struggling for 3 to 5 years. Of course, I'm very happy to work with teacher Mingxue. Su Yao looked at Nalan Mingxue sincerely, but I want to ask for another way. Can Wang Meng and I apply to stay in the incubation base? Do you have any entrepreneurial projects? Yes, we just bought a kiosk on the central axis of the 3 streets of the Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street yesterday. We plan to use it as a pilot to develop and sell tourism cultural and creative products. Our team also has several friends who have good graphic design skills and excellent art skills. We use the characteristic oil paper umbrellas, hanfu, round fans, celebrity photos, refrigerator magnets, bookmarks, etc. of Maritime Silk Road City as carriers. In 1 year, we will gradually form tourist souvenirs with the unique style of Maritime Silk Road City. Therefore, we really need the incubation base to provide office space for our team and configure high-performance computers for graphic design. Su Yao spoke eloquently and incessantly, with a strong aura. I admit, Su Yao, your words touched me. Although I haven't seen any work from your team yet, and we've only known each other for 2 or 3 hours, I believe in you. You can move in tomorrow, JK, go to the 2nd floor and clean up the largest studio, and ask the purchasing department to buy 3 top-of-the-line Apple computers. Nalan Mingxue has seen too many entrepreneurial projects. She knows that the most important factor for the success of an entrepreneurial project is not the product, technology, or ability, but the people, the entrepreneurial team, and especially the characteristics of the entrepreneurial leader. She believes in her feelings for Su Yao and will not go wrong by investing in this girl. In addition, if you need financing in the future, you can always contact me. I will help you connect with the Longton Group's board of directors. You only need to transfer part of your equity. Of course, the prerequisite is that you can show good entrepreneurial results first. After bidding farewell to Nalan Mingxue and leaving the incubation base, Su Yao asked Wang Meng to return to the dormitory quickly and post a recruitment notice on the campus BBS to recruit outstanding graphic designers and illustrators to make up for the team's shortcomings. Title of the recruitment notice: Invited to settle in the entrepreneurship incubation base. The Maritime Silk Road University Cultural and Creative Team invites you to pursue your dreams in the ancient streets. Su Yao and Wang Meng explained, the most important thing in starting a business is to first find strong market demand, and then create products and look for talents based on the demand, rather than the other way around. Because there is profit space only when there is market demand, resources should be matched to demand, rather than reserving resources to match demand. The market is a place where the fast fish eat the slow fish. The first person to see the market demand and meet it will get the most lucrative profits and be able to establish the threshold first. Latecomers can only drink soup or even lose money. Soon, Su Yao's N78 received a text message, and her bank account received 50,000 renminbi. Nalan Mingxue gave Su Yao her first startup fund. I will go to the startup base tomorrow and buy a few bags of imported dog food to reward Xiaobai. There was an advanced mathematics class in the afternoon. Wang Meng called to remind Su Yao to go. The old man who taught advanced mathematics would call the roll in every class, and he remembered every student's face. When calling the roll, the students had to stand up from their seats. Those who called the roll for others would end up in a very ugly situation. 5 points would be deducted from the final exam. Chapter 17, Making Trouble in Math Class. Su Yao's head started to hurt when she thought about having to attend classes and take exams to get credits. But walking on their way to the classroom, seeing the young girls in cool clothes and with curvaceous figures, Su Yao felt that enduring a little more hardship in studying was not a big deal. Su Yao walked into the classroom from the front door, and everyone focused their attention on Su Yao, and the sound of rustling discussions continued. Isn't this the campus beauty selected by our Heisei University BBS forum? I remember she was the second place last year. Why did she cut her hair? What? How come our goddess in college has become a tomboy? Now the goddess has turned into a crazy woman. So handsome. I didn't expect her to change into such a dashing style. She looks like a prince walking out of a castle. As expected, when women become handsome, they have absolutely nothing to do with men. It's so handsome, I feel like I'm going to fall for it. Su Yao had a cool expression, but she was very happy in her heart. With a female body and masculine appearance, the comments have been polarized, making boys jealous and girls crazy. It seems that this route is very correct. Several girls in the back row waved at her, indicating that they had saved a seat for her. Just as Su Yao was about to walk over, she saw a girl sitting alone in the first row in the middle. She had long hair draped over her shoulders and her towering breasts pushed her white t-shirt up high, making her look particularly eye-catching. With 35 years of experience as an LSP, a man's vision is at least E. In this era when the average person has less than B, he can see all the other mountains at a glance. Su Yao couldn't move her legs anymore, so she walked to the girls in the first row and sat down directly. Su Yao's mobile phone QQ received several beep message notification sounds. When she opened it, she saw several messages in a QQ group named 309 Sailor Moon. Mo Jian, are you crazy? Why are you sitting in the first row? Aren't you always at odds with Liu Yi? Chen Rushuan, Su Yao, although you have small breasts, Liu Yi has big breasts. When you sit next to her, the contrast is too obvious. Nan Yu, I understand why Su Yao cut her hair short today. She has a handsome t-shirt style. Maybe she can beat Liu Yi this year and take the top spot on the campus beauty ranking list. Mo Jian, come to the back quickly, there's still time. If the teacher comes in later, you won't be able to leave. Su Yao laughed secretly, you little rascals below D level, what do you know about the magnificent scenery in the world? Su Yao wanted to tease them first, so she replied in the group, dear little princesses, your prince must study hard today. He will spoil you again when he returns to the dormitory after class. Then she exited QQ. Liu Yi turned her head and glanced at Su Yao, said nothing, opened the textbook, took out the draft paper and started calculating on it. In the first year of college, 4 classes of advanced mathematics were taught together. Su Yao remembered that Liu Yi was a top student in another class with an arrogant personality. It was said that she had almost no friends during college. She stayed in the dormitory for one night after the start of the school term and moved out of the school the next day. Unfortunately, Wang Meng was only concerned with being a lapdog for Su Yao at that time and didn't even take such a beauty seriously. Wang Meng arrived late, and as soon as Su Yao saw him, she waved him to sit next to her. Wang Meng was obviously hesitant, but finally chose to sit with his roommates. The math class was confusing. Su Yao was surprised that Liu Yi listened attentively and took notes from time to time. She decided to interrupt, and leaned close to Liu Yi's ear and whispered, I think I've fallen in love with our math teacher. Liu Yi frowned without even turning her head. Because my IQ is basically 0 in front of the person I love. Su Yao noticed that the corners of Liu Yi's mouth twitched slightly. It seems that she is not as cold as the legend says, and she can still understand jokes. The math old man wrote 2 calculus problems on the blackboard, glanced at the seats in the first row, and saw 2 people sitting there. He directly asked them to come to the stage and write out the solutions with chalk. It's the same old habit, I will try my best to fleece the students in the front row, and I won't let go until they are bald. The old math guy once said a famous saying, the students sitting in the back row are all garbage, I only teach the students in the front row. Liu Yi was the first to stand up and go on stage. She picked up the chalk and started writing without thinking for a moment. She wrote down the detailed answer fluently and finished in less than a minute. Su Yao was left standing in front of the blackboard awkwardly. She looked at the question for a long time, with a smile on her face. She picked up the chalk and wrote 2 big words, no. He returned to his seat in a cool manner, causing laughter in the classroom. As always, the math old man praised Liu Yi with clear ideas, complete answers, and high efficiency. Then he started to criticize Su Yao. No, you're still very proud of yourself, aren't you? You're obviously a poor student, why are you sitting in the front row to join in the fun? Stay in the back row from now on. Su Yao, who was 35 years old at heart, couldn't stand this. She stood up and said, "Teacher, this is obviously discriminatory. Why can't I sit in the front row if I don't study well? Why can't I get your respect if I don't study well? The poor students sit in the front row. They want to make progress and get a better learning experience. As a teacher, shouldn't you teach more attentively? The world is not just for the strong and the smart. The weak and ordinary people also have the opportunity and confidence to live well. I'm not good at math, but it doesn't mean I'm not good in other aspects. From now on, I will sit in the first row to protest." Chapter 18, Drunk Sex. The classroom suddenly became extremely quiet, as if you could hear a pin drop. The math old man's face turned pale and he was about to explode, but someone started clapping, and gradually other students also began to applaud. The classroom erupted in boiling applause, and from time to time someone shouted, "Good. That's absolutely right. I protest too. The bad students also have their day." Miss Liu was also stunned, thinking about something. She actually disliked the math old man's behavior of treating students differently, but she didn't dare to express it, not to mention that she was the one being favored. She looked up at the petite, flat-chested girl next to her. Her small body contained tremendous energy to fight against injustice, and she dared to act and speak out. She admired such a girl from the bottom of her heart. The math old man was so angry that he blew his beard and glared, threw down his chalk, turned around and left the classroom. After the applause died down, Su Yao walked up to the podium, picked up the chalk thrown on the ground by the old man, erased the 2 words, "No," and quickly wrote the 6 words, "Maritime Silk Road Entrepreneurship Team," on the blackboard. "Brothers and sisters, today I stand up for everyone and angrily scold the math teacher. It feels good to take revenge for a while. But it is obvious that I will definitely fail the advanced mathematics this semester." Su Yao first played a miserable game to win everyone's sympathy, and then said, "But I have no regrets. What are the 3 most precious things in the world? Fairness, fairness, and damn fairness. I want to make an advertisement here. Wang Meng and I have established a Maritime Silk Road cultural and creative team, and tomorrow we will move into our school's entrepreneurship incubation base. We want to create an integrated online and offline tourism cultural and creative product and service platform. But we are short of people now. We lack excellent graphic designers, illustrators, website operators and craftsmen, and we sincerely invite all the elites present to join us. I have posted the job requirements and the way to collect resumes on the campus BBS. Please believe me, in my team, you will definitely get fair treatment and opportunities. Let us suffocate for our dreams together. Please sign up enthusiastically." This class became Su Yao's personal show. Su Yao became famous in one battle. Her reputation should soon spread throughout the school by gossipers, which is what Su Yao hopes will happen. Everyone opened their phones, logged into the campus BBS, and began a heated discussion. Many people went to the first row for on-site consultation. They added each other on QQ and said they would prepare their works as soon as they returned to the dormitory and go for the interview tomorrow. This day was fruitful. Su Yao treated Wang Meng to dinner. She and Wang Meng went to a food stall near the school to fry a few dishes and ordered a few bottles of beer. While eating, Su Yao told Wang Meng the story of her past life. "I wasted 4 precious years of college working as a full-time bootlicker. After barely graduating, I changed 5 jobs because I was confused and had no career plan. At the beginning, I sold insurance together with my roommates under their encouragement, and worked as a training assistant in Chen Anji's team. Losing the 50,000 yuan he borrowed from his parents, he accidentally got a job as a training instructor in a small company, tricking college students into giving him training on public speaking and eloquence. Later, he felt that he was not worthy of the title of teacher. In order to avoid misleading students, he resolutely resigned. He worked from a training specialist in a listed company to a human resources manager, and then entered a Fortune 500 company, changing jobs twice. When I was 35, I was laid off and the house I bought went bankrupt, and I shed a lot of bitter tears." Su Yao felt more and more sad as she talked, and drank bottle after bottle of beer. The weather in the south was already hot, and with the stimulation of alcohol, Su Yao felt more and more agitated, and she unbuttoned her shirt less and less until Wang Meng could clearly see her bra and a touch of white inside, and then he hurriedly stopped Su Yao's impulse to expose her breasts, and hastily paid the bill and sent Su Yao back to the rental house. After finally helping the drunk Su Yao to the bed, Wang Meng sat there for a while, panting. Just as he was about to leave, he was pulled back by Su Yao. Su Yao groggily followed Wang Meng's arm and put her face close to his ear. Brother, do you want me? I am a girl now. Su Yao, the goddess you could never reach before, is yours tonight. The warm breath and the faint smell of alcohol made Wang Meng feel uncomfortable. Although he had been fantasizing about having a further relationship with the goddess the day before, from holding hands and kissing to having sex, he was no longer in his body and soul at this moment. Su Yao's skin was already white as snow, and the blush on her face made her look even more charming. Wang Meng kept repeating in his heart, "This is not Su Yao, not Su Yao," but he just wanted to escape from here as soon as possible. Seeing that Wang Meng was indifferent, Su Yao turned around from the bed and sat astride Wang Meng's legs. She pushed him down and quickly unbuttoned his shirt with both hands, revealing the boy's strong chest. "Brother, don't do this. Get off me quickly." Wang Meng tried to button his clothes back up in panic, with a look of fear on his face, as if he was about to be penetrated from behind by a gangster. "Don't be shy, brother. Don't say that I treat you badly. Let's do it in one go. This tender and smooth body is given to you now." Su Yao quickly took off her top, untied her bra skillfully in a few moves, and was about to pounce on Wang Meng and bite his neck. Chapter 19, Dog Raid. A pair of little white rabbits jumped around in front of Wang Meng's eyes. Wang Meng felt his mouth dry and his Adam's apple bulged. His hands involuntarily rested on Su Yao's slender waist. Woof tilder woof woof woof. Teddy Deji heard the noise in the bedroom and rushed in like a fly. Without hesitation, she bit Wang Meng's ankle. Wang Meng screamed and shouted, "Get out of here! Your dog is biting me." Su Yao was startled and sobered up immediately. She got out of bed in a hurry and saw Teddy biting Wang Meng and making a low hissing sound. "Okay, Su Yao, let go." Su Yao put her shirt back on and scolded loudly. But Teddy was indifferent. You don't need to turn on, ask the female, to guess that Teddy is extremely angry about Su Yao bringing Wang Meng to the bed to have an intimate relationship. He is so angry that he has lost his mind. "I was wrong, Su Yao, I swear. I will never bring a man into the bedroom again, otherwise I will be struck by lightning." Su Yao came to her senses. She really went too far just now. This female body was just for her to stay in temporarily, and she might return it someday. Just like renting this house, you can decorate it however you want, but if you demolish the wall and change the layout without the landlord's permission, or even want to sell it, the landlord will naturally scold you. Only then did Teddy let go of the dog's mouth, his body still shaking. Su Yao looked at the teeth marks on Wang Meng's ankle. Fortunately, Teddy was a small dog with a weak bite force, so the wound was not deep and only bled a little. "Wang Meng, please leave quickly. There is a clinic at the entrance of the community. Go get yourself bandaged and get the rabies vaccine tomorrow. I will transfer 2,000 to you later." "Sorry. It's okay, it's nothing serious. But seriously, brother, please don't mess around anymore." Wang Meng stood up and limped towards the door. Suddenly he thought of something and turned around to ask, "Brother, I just heard you call this dog Su Yao. Could it be that?" Su Yao nodded, "Yes, Su Yao's soul is in the body of this teddy dog." Wang Meng looked at Su Yao in surprise, not knowing what to say for a moment. "Go quickly, or it might bite you again." After sending Wang Meng away, Su Yao still felt guilty. She walked to the doghouse and saw that Teddy's eyes were wet and there seemed to be 2 tear marks on his face. Su Yao once again assured it that she would abide by the oath she made and would remain chaste and not have any in-depth communication with any man. Su Yao showed Teddy the dog clothes and skirt she bought on Taobao, as well as a crib. Only then did she reconcile with little Teddy, and they high-fived toward each other as an oath. Lying on the bed, Su Yao sighed. It seemed that she could only stay close to cute girls in the future. After treating the injury on his foot, Wang Meng sent text messages that evening to all the college students who had registered for the job, asking them to come to the office area on the 2nd floor of the Entrepreneurship Incubation Base for an interview at 9 o'clock the next morning. The next morning, Su Yao changed into a white business shirt and a black professional skirt, playing with the OL style. She simply used a shark clip to grab her hair, revealing her fair neck, and walked out of the door in a pair of short heels. Although I am interviewing students and I am still a student myself, my professional attire and professional qualities will definitely add points to attracting talents. Interviews are always a two-way attraction process, and the selection of startup team members cannot be sloppy at all. When Su Yao arrived at the Entrepreneurship Incubation Base, it was not yet 8:30, but she found that there was already a long line in the office area on the second floor. In addition to students from her major, there were also men and women from other colleges and other majors, all holding their works and resumes. The Maritime Silk Road cultural and creative team has become famous even before it was established, and Su Yao is very happy. What surprised her even more was that Miss Liu was also in the team. Her tall chest supported her beige sweater, revealing her smooth and flat belly. Although she was wearing a cap and a mask, Su Yao could still recognize her with her outstanding features. "Hi, you're here too. I don't know your full name yet. My name is Su Yao." Su Yao took the initiative to step forward and say hello. "Su Yao. I'm afraid the whole college knows your name now. You became an overnight sensation yesterday." A girl in front of Liu smiled and said something that made Su Yao feel very happy. "Liu." After saying these 3 words expressionlessly, Miss Liu fell silent again. "What a nice name." Su Yao praised. "See you later." Liu did not respond. Her hands were empty. Unlike other applicants who were holding a stack of materials, she only had a shoulder bag on her shoulder. A bit cold and aloof, Su Yao thought, twisting her waist and walking to the door of the studio. A sign has been hung at the door, Maritime Silk Road Cultural and Creative Studio. The door was open, and Wang Meng was already standing inside, setting up the interview tables and chairs, and printing number plates to hand out to the applicants. So many people came at once, far exceeding the number of applicants on the BBS yesterday, which made Wang Meng extremely excited. The studio has a brand new long conference table, an LCD TV, 5 sets of desks and chairs, 2 whiteboards, and 3 latest Apple computers. It must be said that Nailan Mengshua's secretary JK is very efficient. Chapter 20, Harvesting Treasures. It's time to start. Don't keep the students waiting too long. Su Yao pulled a chair and sat on the inside of the long conference table, and at the same time motioned Wang Meng to sit next to her for the interview. In addition to looking at the applicants' works and design experience, Su Yao also pays more attention to the examination of their cultural background. What books do they read and what do they know about Chinese classical culture? Because the design is for the tourism and cultural products of the Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street, graphic design ability is only the tip of the iceberg, and literary and cultural literacy is the main part under the iceberg. Skills can be honed in a short period of time, but qualities are far from being acquired overnight. Of course, girls are given priority, those with good looks are given priority, and those with big breasts and thin waists are given priority. Soon it was Liu's turn to sit opposite Su Yao. She put her bag on the conference table and took out a piece of red paper and a pair of pointed scissors from her bag. Liu folded the red paper several times and began to cut it. In less than a minute, she unfolded the red paper again and a complex and exquisite flower paper cut appeared in front of Su Yao. Su Yao clapped her hands quickly in front of her chest. "Student Liu, you are amazing. Not only are you good at studying, but you are also so skilled at handicrafts. My grandmother taught me paper cutting, but I never had a chance to show it. You make tourism cultural and creative products, and paper cutting is also a major folk custom in Maritime Silk Road City. Student Liu is also the inheritor of intangible cultural heritage, which is not simple. When the time comes, you can perform paper cutting live in our store, and we can also arrange for children to learn paper cutting courses to carry forward this traditional cultural art passed down from your grandmother." Su Yao was ecstatic. Liu was simply the treasure girl of Maritime Silk Road University. She had a good figure, good looks, good grades, and a pair of deft hands. With her joining the team, the average cup size would be greatly improved. Liu took out a bundle of scrolls from her bag, untied them at one end of the conference table, and pushed them gently. The scrolls rolled slowly and hung down at the other end of the table. An 8-meter-long paper cut work of "Along the River During the Qingming Festival" appeared in front of Su Yao and Wang Meng. "Welcome to join us." Su Yao stood up from her seat and held Liu's fair and delicate arm. "It's up to you to decide how much salary to give you each month. I don't need you to pay me." Liu was stunned, and said in a deep voice, "I decided to join your team because I value that you chose tourism and cultural and creative products as the direction of entrepreneurship, which can give the declining traditional handicrafts a chance to revitalize. Don't worry, we will stick to our original aspirations, bring China's excellent traditional culture back into people's daily lives and consumption, and lead a new national trend. Let us work together." In the following interviews, Su Yao was still very attentive to each applicant. It was almost 12 o'clock when she finished interviewing the last student. Su Yao drank a sip of water, picked out the applicants she liked, and had a symbolic discussion with Wang Meng. In the end, 32 girls were selected. Yes, all of them are girls, and they are beautiful girls. No boys are wanted. Are you planning to select a girl group? Wang Meng frowned. Are you setting the table so wide from the beginning? We can't take care of so many people. Su Yao looked at the pile of girls in her hand and laughed. No, we only recruit Liu to join the team. For the other girls, I plan to apply to the school to set up a club as a backup force for the cultural and creative team. You will be the president of this club. Wang Meng was confused, but I don't know anything. Don't think too much, just do it. Su Yao's eyes were as bright as water, and she patted his shoulder. First, you report to the student union and apply for the club. The first batch of members are already there. They are all good kids with their own strengths. Find a way to give them a stage to display their talents. Liu and I will listen to your arrangements and orders, so just go ahead and do it. But Wang Meng seemed so unconfident. I have never dealt with the student union. I may not even be able to speak when I go on stage, unlike you. I am afraid that I will mess up the club. It's okay. There's a first time for everything. Su Yao encouraged, I am who you used to be. If I can do it, you can do it too. I believe in you. You can discuss anything with me, but make your own decision. After all, you are the president. Su Yao handed a stack of resumes to Wang Meng, her eyes deep. Even if you really mess up, there is no loss. You won't make mistakes if you don't try, but people make progress by making mistakes, so making mistakes is no big deal. Then let me try. Wang Meng straightened his back, his eyes shining. This child is teachable. At this time, a white Samoyed came running in, panting, and circled between Su Yao's legs, looking very intimate. Xiaobai. Su Yao recognized it at a glance and looked towards the door. Is teacher Mengxue here too? JK in a navy uniform stuck her head out, wearing a white face-lifting mask and a playful double ponytail. Let's go, Sister Su Yao and Brother Wang Meng. To welcome you to the Entrepreneurship Incubation Base, the Vice President invites you to have a simple meal. The car is waiting downstairs. Chapter 21, A Candid Talk in the Swimming Pool. 3 people and a dog got into a black Land Rover. The driver wearing white gloves started the car and slowly drove out of the campus. 10 minutes later, they arrived at the door of a 5-star hotel. Are all executives' meals so luxurious? After entering the hotel, JK led everyone to a private room, where 7 or 8 boys were already sitting. Judging from their attire, they were probably all students, sitting in their seats in a very orderly manner. Nailin Mengxue sat in the main seat, holding a triangular cheese pizza in her cherry mouth. She had a high nose bridge, big and cute eyes that flickered, and she was tying her hair behind her head with both hands, looking very cute. There were all kinds of dishes on the table, including lobster, king crab, caviar, and many other dishes that Su Yao had never seen before. Add to that the expensive red wine, and the cost of this table of food would be at least several $1,000s. JK guided Su Yao and Wang Meng to their seats. Wang Meng seemed very reserved and at a loss. Su Yao was much more relaxed and took the initiative to greet Nailin Mengxue. Teacher Mengxue, you look so beautiful today. Can I sit with you? Come here. Nailin Mengxue waved her hand and asked her to sit in the empty seat next to her. Su Yao sat down next to the beautiful CEO obediently, and Nailin Mengxue began to introduce. Today, we invite you all to have a meal together. Firstly, it is the first anniversary of the official opening of our Entrepreneurship Incubation Base. All entrepreneurial teams have worked very hard in the past year and have successfully achieved some project results and carried out a series of commercialization. I would like to reward you all here. Secondly, a new team has settled in our incubation base today, the Maritime Silk Road Cultural and Creative Team. The person in charge is the beautiful girl next to me. Let's take this opportunity to get to know each other and communicate. We are all in the same base, so we can share resources and cooperate with each other in the future. Su Yao stood up from her seat, greeted everyone enthusiastically, and briefly introduced the team's entrepreneurial project and current progress. Except for Nailin Mengxue and Su Yao, all the others present were boys. Nailin Mengxue joked, in the past, our base was occupied by technical teams, and the person in charge and team members were all boys. Today, our classmate Su Yao has joined us, and she is a flower in the green. Boys should show their gentlemanly manners and take the initiative to help in a hicey studio if there is any heavy work or miscellaneous work. Of course, of course. The boys present echoed. The science and engineering boys were generally not very good looking, had messy hair, and had a lot of acne on their faces. Seeing Su Yao, who was good looking and sociable, they all perked up. Men and women work together, and work is not tiring. The entrepreneurial incubation base is dominated by men and women, so let me, Su Yao, reverse it. Teacher Mingxue, Wang Meng and I plan to set up a cultural and creative club as a backup force for our Maritime Silk Road Cultural and Creative Studio. We have interviewed and hired 32 girls as the first batch of members this morning. They will come to the studio frequently to help. If there is a chance, we can organize a social gathering to seek benefits for the majority of single men and women. Nalan Mingxue clapped her hands and praised, har har har, thank you Su Yao for thinking about our base. Entrepreneurship is important, but emotional life must also be taken into account. Come on, everyone, use tea instead of wine and toast to the Maritime Silk Road Cultural and Creative team. I wish you will become bigger and better. Lunch was spent in a pleasant atmosphere. The boys took the initiative to add Su Yao's QQ, but no words were spoken during the meal. After dinner, Nalan Mingxue invited me to swim in the infinity pool on the top floor of the hotel, saying it was a special treatment for girls. We took the elevator to the top floor, and the entire swimming pool was wrapped in transparent glass on all four sides, with an excellent view, giving the illusion that the swimming pool was built in the air. JK handed me a new purple swimsuit and said, "The vice president gave it to you as a gift as a souvenir of your arrival." Teacher Mingxue is really good at having fun. After changing into a swimsuit in the dressing room and standing in front of the full-length mirror, Su Yao was a little mesmerized. The purple taro-flavored bikini, although not plump yet, had the advantage of tightly fitting anime-like long legs, round shoulders, and pink knees, which was as beautiful as willow branches in early spring. A girl dressed like this really cannot be seen by those naive and foolish tech geeks, otherwise her number as a bootlicker will have to continue from 3 down. Su Yao held her head high and walked quickly out of the locker room to the side of the swimming pool, which was as big as half a football field. At this moment, Nalan Mingxue had just swum out of the water to the edge of the infinity pool. Her round and firm buttocks sat on the edge of the water, and her long, white and slender legs were still swimming in the water. She was wearing a 3-point halter neck white sling swimsuit, revealing a patch of white, shiny skin in the middle. The swimsuit had very little fabric, which struggled to cover her round 36D breasts, which were dotted with cut watermelon patterns, looking delicious and juicy. Su Yao's male soul immediately felt his blood boiling. This fully developed figure, with its curves in all the right places, made Su Yao's thin body, as a little girl, pale in comparison. Su Yao trotted over and sat down by the water, close to Nalan Mingxue's perky buttocks. She bravely poked the outline of Nalan Mingxue's protruding left breast with her right index finger. It's elastic, firm, and purely natural with no technological content. The touch almost made Su Yao's nose bleed. Chapter 22: The Infatuated Rich Second Generation. Nalan Mingxue was slightly startled, then she slapped away the finger that Su Yao stretched out, pretending to be angry. "You're touching me right away, what's wrong? You're so curious, yours isn't bad either." "I'm far from it," Su Yao muttered to herself, but did not respond. Instead, she plunged into the swimming pool. She really needed cool water to cool down her fevered body. After swimming back and forth twice, Su Yao finally cooled down and returned to her previous position to sit down and rest. She watched Nalan Mingxue in the water swimming very fast, switching freely between various swimming styles like a happy dolphin. About half an hour later, Nalan Mingxue climbed ashore, gasping for breath, her swollen chest heaving up and down, swaying slightly. Su Yao stared blankly for a long time, and felt hot all over again. Nalan Mingxue realized Su Yao's hook-like gaze, covered her chest with her hands, and said coquettishly, "You really like looking at people's breasts, look at them again, I will dig your eyes out." Su Yao then retracted her gaze, looked down at her Wangzai bun, and sighed heavily. "You need to drink double the amount of papaya juice, 2 cups a day." After 2 classes at school in the afternoon and dinner, I returned to the community at 7 o'clock in the evening. It was getting dark and the lights were coming on. When she reached the stairs, Su Yao was surprised to find that there was an arch decorated with flowers at the entrance, and the stair railings were also wrapped with roses of various colors, which were gorgeous and fragrant. Is this a neighbor's wedding? This is too romantic. Su Yao was suspicious while smelling the fragrance of flowers as she climbed up the stairs. There were many varieties of roses, mainly red roses, with blue enchantress, pink, yellow, and champagne colors. Some were in full bloom, while others were in bud. They were obviously carefully arranged by florists, forming flower walls in an orderly manner, which was pleasing to the eye. This must cost a lot of money. Su Yao thought that an ordinary family living in this ordinary community would spend so much money to put up such a luxurious storefront. The bride must be very important. At the end of the flower wall is the stairwell on the 4th floor. Roses are spread in front of Su Yao's rental house, spreading onto the walls and door frames. A tall and thin man is holding a large bouquet of bright red roses, 999 of which cover the man's head and upper body. The rose slowly moved in front of Su Yao, and suddenly sank down. A warm, gentle and handsome face appeared above the bouquet. Mu Xiaolong, the youngest son of the chairman of the Mu Group. Su Yao, I love you. Mu Xiaolong confessed affectionately. He was wearing a rather sophisticated British college-style sweater, 180 centimeters tall, delicate features, and his hair was combed into a 3 to 7 split with gel, and it was obvious that he had made careful preparations. Su Yao's heart skipped a beat and she stood there in a daze. This guy came from the next city on Friday afternoon and asked a florist to arrange such an exaggerated rose gallery just to give Su Yao a surprise. Is he so infatuated? This is completely different from the image of rich second-generation people who change girlfriends faster than turning the pages of a book. If Su Yao's soul was possessed at this moment, no matter how tense the breakup was, she would immediately report it and get back together with him, and go into the room and roll around in bed all night, consuming at least 3 bullets. But Su Yao's soul was in the teddy dog in the house and she couldn't get out. Wang Meng has absolutely no interest in being gay. Go away. Su Yao pushed away the bouquet of roses in front of her, walked coldly behind Mu Xiaolong, took out the key and prepared to open the door. Mu Xiaolong's heart was filled with burning love, but it was as if a basin of cold water was poured on his face. He dropped the bouquet in his hand and threw it on the ground. He was silent for 10 seconds, and then he became angry and said, "Why? Aren't we each other's first love? How can you let it go just like that? First love." This little girl Su Yao had at least 3 boyfriends in high school. In order to hook up with the innocent rich second generation, she actually played the role of childhood sweethearts. How is that possible? I had several boyfriends in high school. You should be. Su Yao counted on her fingers pretending to be serious, the 5th one. Our families are so different that we have no common language. I can't accept a long-distance relationship. I feel lonely in college. I have a new boyfriend who can accompany me every day. I still have a conscience. Let's break up peacefully and stop wasting each other's time. How great! Su Yao smiled playfully, and tried her best to hurt Mu Xiaolong with her words. Impossible, you're lying to me. Mu Xiaolong clenched his fists. If you really have a boyfriend, why didn't he come back with you? What's his name? It's none of your business. Su Yao responded ruthlessly, intending to deliver a fatal blow. I've already had sex with him. Sex, do you understand? It was like a bolt from the blue that hit Mu Xiaolong. His face turned pale and the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching. Fuck. You bitch. Mu Xiaolong finally got angry and raised his hand high to slap her. Su Yao raised her head, not afraid at all. Come on, give me a slap, and we'll be done with each other from now on. Chapter 23, Relatives Visit. Tears welled up in Mu Xiaolong's eyes and flowed silently down his cheeks. Finally, he slowly put down his arms and walked downstairs in a daze. Hotilder Su Yao breathed a sigh of relief and gently touched her pretty face. After being slapped so hard, it would probably be swollen for a long time. Su Yao opened the door and saw the teddy dog Deji curled up at the door. Her black button-like eyes seemed to be filled with tears. She barked at the door, then stood up and quickly rushed down the stairs. The love between man and dog is still there. If Mu Xiaolong could take it away, it would be a good story. Thinking of this, Su Yao raised the corners of her mouth unkindly. After washing up, Su Yao let the teddy bear that was scratching the door outside into the house and turned on, asked the female. Knowing that Mu Xiaolong didn't want to be reminded of him by the sight of the object, she drove it away. Su Yao murmured to comfort him. Deji didn't respond, but just cried silently. Su Yao drank a large glass of homemade papaya juice and massaged her pectoralis major muscles for 10 minutes following the techniques she saw online. She could no longer hold on and fell into a deep sleep. At night, Mu Xiaolong broke into their house with a ferocious face, hugged Su Yao and threw her onto the bed. After a struggle, blood gushed out, forming a river of blood that rushed out of the window. Su Yao sat up from the bed with a cry of "R." The sunlight was blinding, but fortunately it was just a dream. She was still a virgin, and the fight did not happen. But why is it sticky and wet between my legs? Su Yao lifted the quilt and saw that her lower body was flushed, soaking the quilt. My period is here. After traveling through time, Su Yao had her period for the first time. She had no experience at all and was at a loss for what to do. She pulled out a pile of tissues from the bedside table, covered the wound under her body with one hand, and rummaged through the drawers in the bedroom with the other hand. Fortunately, she found an extended, large band-aid in a drawer, put it on her clean underwear, and then put it on the wound. I had stomachache, backache, and general fatigue. It was the first day of my period and it came with great force. Su Yao found a hot pack and put it on her stomach, drank some hot water, and lay hunched over on the bed, relaxing for a long time as if she were being tortured. Su Yao's period is really painful. Thinking about having it every month in the future, Su Yao felt a chill in her spine. Being a woman is not easy. No, I need to take some painkillers, otherwise I will faint from the pain. Su Yao quickly called Wang Meng and asked him to go to the pharmacy immediately and buy her a box of ibuprofen. 10 minutes later, Wang Meng knocked on the door and entered the rental house. He put a box of painkillers, a pack of large sanitary napkins, a heat pad, and a hearty breakfast on the table. He first took an ibuprofen and handed it to Su Yao to take, then went to the kitchen to cook a bowl of brown sugar ginger water and brought it over. As expected, I can still rely on myself. Being a bootlicker is shameful, but it is not completely useless. At least I have been trained to be careful and considerate, and I know how to take care of girls. After graduating from college, I met the carefree Shangguan Jiyue, and it was precisely with this advantage that I captured her heart and was able to take her home as my wife. After taking painkillers and drinking stomach-warming brown sugar ginger water, Su Yao's pale face gradually regained color, and the pain in her stomach and waist was finally relieved a lot. Oh my god, is Su Yao's dysmenorrhea so severe? I only knew that Su Yao felt very uncomfortable during those few days of the month and had a bad temper. I also bought her sanitary napkins and painkillers, but after experiencing it myself today, I still feel a little sympathetic for her. Su Yao saw some red spots on her pajamas, so she quickly picked up the sanitary napkin on the table and ran to the bathroom, humming, "TNND, it's full again." I even suspect there's a faucet installed underneath. On the first day of her period, Su Yao went downstairs to eat nearby, and lay on the bed and so for all day. She changed 7 or 8 sanitary napkins and looked very ugly. Su Yao suspected that she would die from excessive blood loss today. This powerful animal that can bleed for 7 days every month without dying is truly a miraculous existence on this planet. After a night's sleep, Su Yao's flow was much less, and she could finally go out for some exercise. Her mother called early in the morning and asked Su Yao to go home for lunch. Su Yao's home is located in the suburbs of Heisi City, and it takes about 1.5 hours to get there by bus. Su Yao recalled the records in her diary. Her family was average. Her father drove a truck all year round, so she lacked fatherly love since she was a child. She has a younger sister who is 3 years younger, and they have a good relationship. Her mother took care of the 2 daughters at home and occasionally did some odd jobs to supplement the family income. The 3 of them depended on each other. The absence of a male in the family made Su Yao eagerly desire love from the opposite sex. This may be one of the reasons why Su Yao found a boyfriend early and kept a male as a backup in college. After getting off the bus, Su Yao called her sister and asked her to pick her up at the bus stop by bike. "Sister, it's just a few hundred meters, just walk back by yourself, I'm playing games." Suzy on the other end of the phone refused. Su Yao didn't know their way home, but she couldn't tell him, so she could only make an excuse. "Good sister, I'm not feeling well today and can't walk. I need my dear sister to pick me up. I'll give you 5 yuan for the trip." "When did you become so pretentious?" Okay, 10 yuan. "If it doesn't work, forget it." Suzy complained and raised the price. Deal for 10 yuan, stop dawdling and come over here. Su Yao hung up the phone. Chapter 24 Flirtatious Aunt. 5 minutes later, a young girl appeared at the entrance of the village, wearing a miniskirt, a white t-shirt and a side ponytail. Susie rode a women's scooter to pick up her sister. Your period has come? The next day. Susie asked as she saw that her sister's complexion was not right. How did you guess so accurately? Su Yao was a little surprised. Are the two sisters so in tune with each other? We've lived together for more than 20 years. As soon as you stick your butt out, I know what shit you're going to do. Vulgar. Sitting behind her sister, Su Yao pinched her butt hard, causing the car to shake. You want to die? Susie cursed. Su Yao's jade arms hugged her sister's slender waist from behind, and her heart was filled with indescribable happiness. When she arrived at the door of her home, Su Yao saw a four-story building with a yard. Her mother was preparing lunch in the kitchen. The pot was stewing an old hen that she raised at home, and on the plate was sizzling sweet and sour carp, which were all Su Yao's favorite dishes. Although Su's mother is over 50 years old, she still has her charm, delicate collarbone, slender neck, and beautiful figure, with a capable and elegant aura. When she was young, Su's mother was a beauty in the village. She married the handsome Su's father from the same village and gave birth to a pair of cute sisters, which was also a good story in the village. Su Yao, you're back. Take out the dishes and wash them. Your aunt will come to our house for dinner later. The busy mother Su reminded in a gentle voice. Su Yao thought of the aunt mentioned in the diary. She relied on being a mistress for a rich man in Tianjin City. After successfully forcing the main wife to take over, she became a rich lady who gave out gifts in large and small packages when she returned to the village. Just 3 years later, she divorced and got a huge amount of cash and 3 or 4 stores in the downtown area, which enabled her to achieve financial freedom. She was quite skillful in controlling men and once taught Su Yao, men conquer women by conquering the world, and women conquer the world by conquering men. Su Yao regarded it as a wise saying in her diary, and her aunt became her role model. Hey, Su Yao, I haven't seen you for a while. You look even more beautiful now. Let me take a good look at you. Su Yao had just placed the dishes on the dining table in the living room when she heard a silver bell-like laughter coming from outside the door. The aunt was wearing a pink long skirt, lifted up the hem of her skirt and stepped over the threshold, paired with a pair of silver high heels, showing off her slender legs, which was instantly stunning. The aunt took Su Yao's hand and looked at her carefully from top to bottom, as if she was looking at a beautiful dress in a store. She opened her red lips slightly and exuded a sexy aura. TSK 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 TSK, you have gathered all the advantages of your father and mother's appearance. With this face and figure, many boys will be fascinated. The only shortcoming is that your breasts are a little small. But you are still young and have a chance to develop again. Drink more papaya juice and do breast enhancement massage, it will be effective. This sentence touched Su Yao's heart. I thought so too. Su Yao nodded repeatedly. I heard from your mom that you have a boyfriend in college. And he's a rich second-generation guy? Great, Su Yao, you realized it earlier than your aunt. Listen to your aunt and seize the opportunity in these most beautiful years of your early 20s to tie down your rich second-generation boyfriend. Don't be like your mom. Just because your dad is good-looking, you married a guy who drives a junky car. What's the difference between you and being a widow now? My aunt lifted her long curvy hair, making her look particularly charming. Su's mother came out of the kitchen with a plate of stir-fried vegetables. When she heard her aunt's ridicule, she immediately frowned and put the plate heavily on the dining table. There was a crisp sound, and the soup spilled. When Xiao Qian, please be respectful in my house. If you keep driving a junky car and living a life of widowhood, I'll tear your mouth apart. When YA, you may think I am being harsh, but I am telling the truth. Your Su Jin can only come home a few times a year, and the rumor in the village is that he has a mistress outside. Men, whether they are rich or poor, cannot control their pants. So why don't you find a rich woman? If you lose her, at least you still have the money. If you find a poor woman, you will have nothing left after losing her. The living room was filled with gunpowder. Susie walked in from the inner room and spoke bluntly, Aunt, don't meddle in my family's affairs. It's not your turn to say anything about my dad. Don't think you're great just because you make some money from a man. We don't care. Don't come to my house for free meals in the future. If you are so rich, go to a 5-star hotel every day and don't disgust us in front of you. The little hot pepper of the Su family has to be you? The aunt was not angry. She put down the bag in her hand and left. Susie picked up the bag on the ground, rushed out and stuffed it back into the aunt's hand. You little bastard, this is a limited edition bag that your sister asked me to buy for a long time. I bought it because she really liked it. The aunt put her right hand on her waist, looked at Su Yao in the living room, and said with a smile, Su Yao, come on, bring your rich second-generation boyfriend to my aunt's house sometime, and I'll treat you to dinner. Su Yao also walked out and stood with her sister, shrugging her shoulders slightly. Aunt, I don't want any limited edition bags. Besides, my boyfriend and I just broke up last week. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Chapter 25, Open Mahjong. The aunt was choked and slightly startled, then waved her hand at the two sisters. You are really not from the same family. You three, mother and daughter, are all of the same character. Just be stubborn, you will regret it in a few years. After saying that, my aunt twisted her snake-like waist and turned away lightly and gracefully. Susie turned her head and looked at Su Yao, with her eyes wide open, and asked curiously, Sister, did you take the wrong medicine today? In the past, you always stood on the same side with my aunt, helping her to talk and anger our mother, and your elbows were always turned outward. Why are you on the same front with us today? Su Yao held her sister's still tender shoulders with both hands, her delicate collarbone almost parallel to the sky. Silly sister, I have figured it out. We are family. You and your boyfriend really broke up. It's a complete break. From now on, your sister will make a lot of money with her own hands, so that you and mom can live in a big villa, drive a luxury car, and slap your aunt in the face. You're just bragging. Without your rich second-generation boyfriend who sends you money every month, you are not allowed to ask mom for living expenses. You have to work and study. Su Yao pulled her sister back to the dining table, and while eating, she told them what she had done this week. She sold the store, received a 50,000 yuan reward from Naylan Mingxue, and entered the entrepreneurship incubation base. She also showed them her bank deposits to prove that what she said was true. Su Yao, mom is very pleased that you can get on the right track. Don't listen to your aunt's nonsense. Your father loves this family. He is busy working outside to make a living, but he will never have a lover. You have to believe in your father. Mom also trusts him absolutely. One day, he will be successful and come home to reunite with us. Su's mother spoke earnestly with a firm look in her eyes. After dinner, Su Yao rushed to the kitchen to wash the dishes, and cleaned up her room, which was like a pigsty. These unprecedented actions surprised Su's mother, who looked at her daughter with new eyes. In the afternoon, Su's mother took a break from her busy schedule and went to play mahjong in the chess and card room run by Xie Darjie's family at the entrance of the village. Su Yao had nothing to do, so she went over to take a look. Before traveling through time, Su Yao knew a little bit of mahjong. She was the type of player who was not very good at it but loved to play it. Since she didn't know how to read or count the cards, she would often make mistakes without knowing what she was doing. Fortunately, she didn't play it too hard and only lost 200 or 300 each time. Su's mother Wen Yai's mahjong skills may not be even as good as Su Yao's predecessor. 2 hours have passed and she has not won a single hand, but just spent money. Sister, are you here to give me money again today? Last time, we played for an entire afternoon, and I think you only won one hand. Aunt Wang from the other side narrowed her eyes, having already won more than 300 yuan on the table. Judging from the momentum of the way she drew and played the cards, she must be a veteran who has been hanging around in the chess and card room for many years. My luck hasn't come yet. I'm waiting to make you lose loudly next time. Su's mother has not correctly understood her own level. She is also a novice and likes to play. Let me help you. Su Yao drew out the memories of her previous life as a dog licker from her sea of consciousness, and soon heard the woman's voice that only she could capture. I'm listening to the cards, just waiting for 50,000. 30,000 or 50,000 is fine. I'll take 2. The cheating has begun, let us reveal our cards. Su's mother picked up a 50,000 note and was about to throw it away when she saw that it didn't form a pair or a straight with the cards in front of her. Wait a minute. Su Yao behind her hurriedly stopped Su's mother and took back her 50,000 yuan. It's a 2-shot deal, but you can't do that. Su Yao looked at the cards in Wen Yai's hand and threw out a card called Zhu. With the help of asking the female, Su Yao helped her mother win 3 games in a row. The other 3 card players were unhappy. I doubt your daughter can sneak a peek at our cards while standing. Either stay silent or let your daughter sit down and play by herself. You can't help her all the time. Su Yao felt that today was a good opportunity to make a small fortune, and whispered in Su's mother's ear, "If I lose, it's mine, and if I win, it's split 30-70. When Ya stood up and gave her a seat, and Su Yao started to shuffle the cards. After Su Yao came on the court, she won 8 and lost 2, and the balance of victory tilted greatly in her favor. In one afternoon, she made a small profit of just over 1,000 yuan. You're great, little girl. You're the one who's winning. The 3 of us each lost 3 or 400 to you. After the last round, Antoine counted the money and found that today was the biggest loss she'd suffered in this month. Good luck, aunties, greed, greed, greed. Su Yao smiled happily, gave her mother 300 yuan, and put the remaining 700 yuan into her wallet. Mom, I'll take you and your sister to town tonight for dinner, buy 2 pieces of clothes, and relax. Su Yao proudly put her arm around her mother's shoulders. This unexpected fortune should be spent today. Although they had only been together for a short day, Su Yao had already fallen in love with her gentle mother and quirky sister, and quickly integrated into this family. You can ask your sister to go. I won't go. Su's mother was reluctant to spend the money. Go ahead, sister. Don't let your daughter's filial piety go to waste. Antoine joked from the side. Although she lost money, she didn't take it lightly. The mother, her 2 daughters, rode a motorcycle to the only large shopping mall in the town, chose a hot pot restaurant, and sat down to have a lively meal. Chapter 26 Dancing Horror. My younger sister Suzy was particularly happy. It seemed that she hadn't come to town to play for a long time. Before leaving, she changed into a beautiful outfit, a fluffy round neck sweater, light-colored narrow jeans wrapped around her 2 cartoon-like long legs, and white high-top sneakers, full of youthful vitality. After eating hot pot, Su Yao took her sister and mother to the mall downstairs and bought a set of clothes for each of them. Su's mother picked a modified version of the cheongsam, which gave her a classical and elegant beauty, like a beauty from the Republic of China. Suzy preferred a white t-shirt with a super short t-shirt. When she came out of the fitting room, Su's mother shook her head repeatedly, but Xiao Lajiao didn't care about that and chose a pair of very transparent flesh-colored silk stockings. After buying clothes, Suzy pulled Su Yao to the arcade on the top floor to catch dolls. It was the weekend, and the arcade was crowded with people, with many elementary and middle school students from nearby flocking in. The arcade was decorated with colorful lights, creating a cheerful and exciting atmosphere. The sounds from various game machines and background music intertwined to form a unique and lively sound field. Sister, come over here quickly, there's a girl dancing. Suzy walked through the crowd and took Su Yao to the dance machine area. A tall girl, wearing a white V-shaped mask covering half of her face, but from her eyebrows and eyes, you can still tell that she is a beauty. The girl has a towering chest, a white sling t-shirt with jeans, and a pair of Nike sneakers, and she is unrestrained in front of the dance machine. The dynamic and domineering S-shaped figure makes Su Yao intoxicated. Su Yao looked at the girl's profile and felt that she had seen her somewhere before, but she couldn't remember where. One song of Ding Ding Dong Dong, followed by a song of puppets. The dancing machine girls' steps are precise, their dance postures are neat and tidy, their tension is full, and their rhythm is as smooth as Dove chocolate. They shake their heads, toss their hair, twist their waists, swing their hips, shake their breasts, and their hands and feet are coordinated and agile. With a small stool, Su Yao should be able to watch the young lady dancing in the arcade all day without falling asleep. In sharp contrast, a middle-aged man with round black-framed glasses, an unkempt beard, messy hair, and outdated clothes sat on a sofa bench next to the dance machine, looking very old-fashioned. He looked at the girl dancing on the dance machine with a playful smile, his eyes fixed on her, and his hands swayed to the rhythm of the music from time to time. Su Yao felt disgusted. She didn't know where this wretched old man came from. He was really ruining the view next to such a beautiful girl. 3 drunken young men squeezed into the innermost of the crowd, watching the sexy girl swaying to the beat of the music. They first clapped loudly, then whistled wantonly and danced wildly beside the girl. The middle-aged man next to the dance machine frowned when he saw this scene. Hey, beautiful girl, you dance so sexy, come and take me with you. A yellow-haired boy standing at the front walked behind the girl, slapped her butt with his dirty hands seemingly casually, and pinched it. The girl on the dance machine screamed and hurriedly hid where the middle-aged man was sitting, with a look of horror on her face. Liu. Su Yao suddenly recognized her. This was the busty girl she had just hired after an interview last Friday. She usually looked quiet, shy, and didn't like to talk, but she also had such a cool side in the arcade. The yellow-haired boy smiled evilly and walked forward without hesitation. Little sister, why are you hiding? You are so disrespectful to me. Come here, I want to dance couple mode with you. The middle-aged man suddenly stood up and walked towards the yellow-haired boy. He was half a head taller than the yellow-haired boy. He put his right hand on his shoulder and said coldly, "Did you touch his butt just now? Who are you? I advise you to mind your own business and find out who dares to mess with me in this town." The bearded middle-aged man suddenly grabbed the yellow-haired boy's collar with his left hand and slapped him with his right hand. The drunk yellow-haired boy was caught off guard and staggered and almost fell to the ground. The yellow-haired boy spat and rushed forward to hit the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man breathed steadily, his eyes calm, and with his left hand he parried the opponent's fist that was aimed at his face, and with his right hand he pierced the yellow-haired man's abdomen with a dull sound. The yellow-haired man was pushed back 2 steps and cursed fiercely, "Fuck you. You dare to hit me, brothers, give me, oh tilde tilde." Before he finished speaking, Su Yao quietly came behind Wang Mao and kicked him in the crotch with all her strength. Wang Mao rolled his eyes and knelt on the ground in pain, losing his fighting ability. Then he vomited violently, emitting a foul smell mixed with a strong smell of alcohol. When the other 2 accomplices saw their boss being beaten, they immediately rushed forward, one on the left and one on the right, surrounding the middle-aged man in the middle. Not good enough. The middle-aged man adjusted his black-framed glasses. "Come on together, don't waste my time." A minute later, 3 scums of society were lying on the floor with bruised faces and noses. Liu followed the middle-aged man and walked out of the arcade quickly. Su Yao and her sister did not dare to stay for long and ran out with them. Chapter 27 Pre-Class Gossip. Su Yao chased and shouted. Liu heard someone calling her name, looked back, seemed to recognize Su Yao, nodded slightly, but did not stop. She followed the middle-aged man into a black car parked on the side of the road and drove away quickly. Who is this middle-aged man? A bodyguard. Su Yao was panting on the side of the road, looking at the taillights of the car going away, full of doubts about Liu's family background. The next morning, Su Yao returned to school and caught up with the 3rd and 4th classes in the morning. As soon as she entered the classroom, she was pulled to the back row by her roommate Chen Rushuan. Su Yao looked at the first row, which was empty, and Liu, wearing a white mask, was still sitting alone. "Su Yao, you looked so cool last week." As soon as Su Yao sat down, another roommate, Xu Xiangjuan, couldn't wait to flatter her. "You helped us vent our anger. When did you become so good at math?" Although she majored in computer science and chose science in high school, mathematics really requires talent. As far as I can remember, Su Yao's math final score last semester was just over 60, so she was lucky enough not to have to retake the exam. "I just happened to have seen similar 3 questions recently." Su Yao explained absent-mindedly, enjoying the squeeze of being hugged on both sides. She put one hand around her roommate's shoulders and felt the smoothness of the girl's skin. "Those 3 questions are obviously beyond the syllabus. When did you start studying such difficult math problems?" Xu Xiangjuan kept asking. After a few seconds, she narrowed her eyes and smiled wickedly. "Did your little licker Wang Meng teach you? You've been hanging out with him a lot lately." "What little lickspittle? You're talking nonsense. Wang Meng is my serious boyfriend." Su Yao felt a surge of nameless anger in her chest. "Is that something you can call a lickspittle? What? Are you crazy? You are sick to be in a relationship with such a poor and unsophisticated idiot." Roommate Nan Yu reacted most strongly. She had always envied Su Yao for having a rich second-generation boyfriend. "Su Yao, are you kidding? What about your rich second-generation boyfriend? The red flag is flying at home, and the colorful flags are flying outside the house." Chen Rushuan opened her eyes wide, with an expression of disbelief. Su Yao slowly moved her hands from her roommate's shoulders to their waists, hugged their slender waists, and said lazily, "Mu Xiaolong and I broke up last week, and it was a complete breakup. Wang Meng is no longer the same as he used to be. Haven't you noticed that he has become more handsome recently? This is a potential stock." I believe that his future achievements will definitely surpass Mu Xiaolong. The roommates looked at Wang Meng in the front row. He had changed his hairstyle, but because he didn't take good care of it, it looked like a mess again. He also changed back to his oversized high school uniform, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look listless. Last Thursday I saw him outside the school wearing a business suit and a new hairstyle. He looked a bit more handsome than before. Xu Xianjuan was the first to voice her opinion and started to complain, but look at him today, he has turned back into that sloppy otaku. A male god is a male god, and a bootlicker is a bootlicker. There is a world of difference. Su Yao, don't be blind. If you really become a boyfriend and girlfriend with Wang Meng, not only you, but also all of us in dormitory 309 will be ashamed. When Su Yao saw Wang Meng's poor clothing taste and messy hair, she was immediately furious. Anyway, Wang Meng and I are together, you can do whatever you want. After saying that, she stood up from her seat and strode to the first row. What exactly is it about Wang Meng that attracts her? To lick a dog, and in the end get everything? Unbelievable. Nan Yoyo's three views were greatly shocked, and she pouted and shook her head. Su Yao moved to sit next to Liu Yi, put one hand on her white silk thigh and stroked it, praising, good legs, long, straight and thin, hee. You dance really well. A blush inadvertently climbed up Liu Yi's cheeks. She impatiently slapped away Su Yao's hand that was touching her leg, and said coquettishly, you're touching me. What's the difference between you and the second-rate guy last night? Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you helped me yesterday. If you dare to mention this outside, I'll let my cousin block you at the school gate if I hear you. Oh, big-breasted girls have a bit of temper, I like it. Su Yao was secretly delighted. The middle-aged man yesterday was your cousin. He's powerful and domineering. Su Yao still looked like a playful and frivolous girl, teasing, don't worry, my greatest strength is that I keep my mouth shut. I'm more tight-lipped than anyone else. Su Yao put her mouth close to Liu Yi's ear and blew into her delicate jade ear. This is a secret between the two of us. Liu Yi felt like she was being teased by a boy, which was indescribably strange. Su Yao, I still have to thank you. I'll buy you some milk tea after class. Have a cup of milk tea. You are too stingy. Su Yao shrugged slightly, I am a hero saving a beautiful woman. In ancient times, you would have to marry her with your body. Come to my room tonight and sleep with me. Fuck you, Su Yao. You female hooligan. After class, Su Yao and Liu Yi each took a cup of milk tea and walked on the tree-lined path leading to the cafeteria. Suddenly, a wildcat jumped out of the bushes next to Liu Yi, chasing a barking puppy behind her, scaring her so much that she screamed and jumped up, spilling the milk tea in her hand onto Su Yao's chest. Chapter 28 Number 2 Licking Dog. Liu Yi was still in shock. She turned around and saw the milk tea stain on Su Yao's shirt. She quickly apologized, took out a tissue from her bag, and wiped it clean while facing Su Yao. Seeing a pair of E-class warriors swaying under her eyes, Su Yao's mouth was about to drool. She resisted the urge to touch them and couldn't help blurting out, what a big melon. Liu Yi didn't understand. When she realized that Su Yao was staring at her chest, she subconsciously crossed her arms and said, what are you doing? Do you have any method to enlarge your breasts? Teach me. Look at me, I'm so rich at such a young age and I even have a private airport. Su Yao shook Liu Yi's arm coquettishly to cover up her embarrassment just now. I was born with it, what can I do? Looking at Su Yao's disappointed eyes, Liu Yi felt that she should say something, and responded softly, I envy you, you look good in any clothes with small breasts. Unlike me, I dare not wear many clothes, and I feel very erotic if I show a little bit. When I was young, I didn't know the benefits of big breasts, and I mistakenly took flat breasts as treasures. When the flowers bloomed and the jade was ripe, I only envied big breasts and round buttocks. Su Yao leaned close to Liu Yi's ear and recited a poem, which made Liu Yi blush again. She chased her and wanted to tear her face. Fortunately, Su Yao was prepared and ran away. PM, Su Yao went to work at the Heisei Cultural and Creative Studio. As soon as she entered the room, she saw Liu Yi cutting paper on the conference table, on which were several flower patterns that had been cut. Wang Meng was excitedly playing games on his new computer. Su Yao quietly walked to Wang Meng's side, raised her knife and chopped it on Wang Meng's neck with a click, scaring him so much that he jumped up from his chair. Did you play games until midnight last night? Look at your dark circles under your eyes, which are darker than a panda's. Su Yao scolded unceremoniously, and said angrily, "Do you lose your life goals if you stop being a bootlicker? You don't know how to control yourself when playing games, which is nothing more than emptiness in your heart. How is the club application going?" "I submitted the application last Thursday, but it's stuck with the student union president, who has kept me waiting, but there's still no reply." Wang Meng covered his neck in pain, grimacing. "What's the name of the student council president?" "It seems his name is Xiao Zhan." "Xiao Zhan? The number 2 bootlicker of Su Yao." Su Yao was a little upset. This week, Xiao Zhan's phone calls and QQ messages were all unanswered by Su Yao. On Saturday, he sent her a text message to ask her to go rock climbing. Su Yao was having her period and was in no mood to respond. Her name was on the list of club sponsors, and they were probably holding back the club application until she took the initiative to talk to Xiao Zhan. "You have to face what you have to face, troubles will not disappear automatically." Su Yao smoothed the hair by her ears and said in a deep voice, "I know. I'll deal with it later." The Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street will be renovated in early June. Maritime Silk Road City will hold its first tourism festival, and the main focus is to promote the Maritime Silk Road Ancient Street as the historical and cultural business card of Maritime Silk Road City. In addition, the torch relay ceremony of the Beijing Olympic Games will be held in Maritime Silk Road City in June. The flow of people in the ancient street will definitely usher in the first wave of peaks, and it is very likely that there will be a lot of tourists. Su Yao paused and continued, "We have 3 pavilions in the ancient street, 2 of which are sublet and 1 is self-operated. Now there is only about half a month left, and the 3 of us have to select products for the self-operated pavilion together, and the goods must be put on the shelves on June 1st, Wang Meng. After the selection of products is finalized, you will be responsible for contacting the Yiwu tourist souvenir manufacturers on Alibaba. Be sure to purchase the goods at the factory's lowest price, so that the profit will be considerable. You and Wang Meng can search online for the best-selling products at popular tourist attractions. I'll go to the student union first. Everything is difficult at the beginning, so let's work hard together." Su Yao left the studio and headed straight for the student union. On the way, Su Yao called Xiao Zhan to confirm that he was in the office, and then took the elevator to the 8th floor of the administration. "Please sit down." Xiao Zhan was sitting at his desk signing documents. He looked up and saw Su Yao coming in, and greeted her coldly. Su Yao didn't hesitate to sit down on the sofa beside her, took a pack of the best tea from the cupboard, boiled water and made tea. The fragrance of biluochun filled the room. Su Yao drank tea comfortably and was not in a hurry to speak. She would not move until the enemy did. "What do you want to talk to me about?" Xiao Zhan couldn't help it, put down the pen in his hand, walked over and asked. "I haven't been feeling well lately, so I haven't replied to your messages or calls." Su Yao said lightly, "Also, I have a boyfriend, which may have caused you some misunderstandings before, so I think it's better for us to keep a distance, and there's no need to contact each other frequently." "Are you here to confront me? To draw a line between you and me?" "That's fine. There are many girls who are close to me, and you are not the only one I need. Brothers should settle accounts clearly, let alone fake lovers like us. Since it is impossible for the fake to become real, let's settle the ties that should be made, and there should be no uncomfortable ties." After Xiao Zhan finished speaking, he took out a piece of A4 paper that had already been printed from the drawer of his office and handed it to Su Yao. Chapter 29 AA List. Su Yao looked at the title above and frowned. AA list during the relationship. Su Yao looked up at the burly man sitting opposite her. She didn't expect him to be so narrow-minded. The list listed all the expenses paid by the man for each meal, outing, movie, etc., divided by 2. The gifts given during the Chinese New Year and other festivals were counted as the full amount, and the small items such as ice cream and scarves that Su Yao occasionally bought were deducted. Every detail was written on both sides, totaling 13,454.6, accurate to 1 decimal place. "What's your major?" Su Yao asked curiously. "Accounting." "Then you will definitely be an excellent actuary in the future." Su Yao said sarcastically, folded the paper in half and put it away, then took a sip of tea. "Send me your bank account number and I will transfer the money to you now." Xiao Zhan was prepared for Su Yao to throw a tantrum and curse, but he didn't expect her to be so straightforward. He was stunned for a while, then slowly said, "Don't you want to check it? See if there is any mistake." "No need, I admit it." I'm not as good at math as you are. Su Yao still looked calm and indifferent. Using money to solve this tangled relationship is the best choice for Su Yao now. Xiaozhan sent his bank account number to Su Yao, who immediately used mobile banking to transfer the money in real time. After confirming that Xiaozhan had received the money, she mentioned the purpose of this trip. Wang Meng from our class submitted an application to establish a club. I heard that the process has reached your end. If there is no problem, you can sign and stamp it and give it to me now. It's urgent. Wang Meng is your boyfriend. That silly boy, how can he compare to me? Xiaozhan sneered, when did your vision become so bad? We've just cleared up. What does my personal love life have to do with you? Su Yao retorted, rolling her eyes. Okay, I'll sign and stamp it and give you the application documents. Xiaozhan stood up and walked to the desk, pulling out a stack of materials from under a pile of documents. Su Yao got the stamped application document, returned to the Heisi Cultural and Creative Studio, and handed it to Wang Meng. It's done, go and register. Gather the members who applied to join next week and hold a launching ceremony. As the president, you have to prepare the first speech. Starting tomorrow, meet at the school's lake pavilion at 6 o'clock every morning. I will give you 10 days of devilish training to ensure that you can do well in this speech. 6 o'clock? I can't get up, please spare me. Wang Meng looked desperate. Brother, get out of the state you were in for the college entrance examination. We should focus on money together now. Don't follow your roommates and indulge in the dormitory. Games and porn can't move you, but I can. Su Yao patted Wang Meng's shoulder vigorously. The three of them selected some popular tourist souvenirs through their website and searched for the same or similar Iwu small commodities on Alibaba, all of which were at extremely low factory prices. After paying 5,000 yuan for the goods, Su Yao planned to test the waters first. After Wang Meng placed the order, he communicated with the customer service and learned that the goods would arrive at the end of May and would be shipped to the small pavilion in the ancient street for sale. Su Yao took out a calculator, took out a few A4 sheets, and used a pen to divide it in half. She wrote the cost on the left and the selling price on the right. She listed each selected item one by one, multiplied the quantity, and added the rent and store employee salary 3,000 per month per person at the bottom of the paper. Finally, she roughly calculated the total cost and the turnover of this batch of goods. Optimistically, she could sell the 5,000 yuan worth of goods in about 2 months, and get a net profit of about 5,000 yuan per month, which would make about 60,000 yuan a year. So much. It's equivalent to my father's annual income. Wang Meng was amazed and immediately straightened his back and became motivated. Liu Yi wore a white mask, and her face curves gracefully. Her facial expression could not be seen, but from her eyes, there was no trace of smile. For a family like hers that could afford to send her to study abroad, the cost of studying abroad is at least 500,000 or 600,000 yuan a year, and 60,000 yuan may not be a big deal for her. Su Yao frowned and sighed in distress. Even for the Reborn, although they have a huge information gap advantage, many advanced investments that can more than double the profit, such as real estate, stocks, and emerging industries in the future, cannot be made without any effort, so the first pot of gold is particularly important. The first pot of gold should be at least 1 million. Su Yao thought to herself that the traditional model of opening a store, purchasing goods, and selling goods, which puts pressure on inventory and funds, has a long sales cycle and average profits, is not an ideal model. As a reborn person with the golden finger of asking the female, Su Yao's expectation is of course to get rich quickly, preferably overnight. Is it possible to be reborn as a lonely person? You have to change your mindset and get involved in some short-term, high-profit industries. Su Yao is confident that her wealth can snowball, but the first snowball must be rolled up in the shortest possible time, because time waits for no one. Chapter 30 My wife appears. Su Yao had no inspiration for a while, and her stomach started to growl. There was no way to rush, so she had to think while working. Let's go to a restaurant. Our studio will have its first team building tonight. We warmly welcome Liu Yi to join us. Su Yao opened her arms and hugged Liu Yi, finally experiencing the pleasure of softness against softness. Su Yao's chest was so soft that it almost melted, and her nose almost bleeds. It was so comfortable, like falling into the clouds or hugging a ball of soft cotton. I almost felt like taking off on the spot. Su Yao held him for 5 minutes, and Liu Yi patted her back 2 or 3 times to let go, but Su Yao didn't care. Wang Meng watched awkwardly, wanting to say something but stopping himself. Don't hold me so tight, I can't breathe. Liu Yi pushed Su Yao away forcefully, panting, Su Yao, why are you so excited? Of course I'm happy to have such an outstanding person like you into the team. Su Yao's face flushed, and the soft touch and warmth on her chest were still there, and she couldn't recover for a long time. Let's go, I know a good place. Wang Meng took the initiative for once and opened the door of the studio. Wang Meng took Su Yao and Liu Yi to the end of Student Street and entered a pub. We just had a gathering here at the weekend. There are many small private rooms, suitable for 3-5 people to dine together. Their craft beer is delicious. Would you like to have a jug? One for each of you, don't go home until you're drunk tonight. Su Yao cheered happily, with a sly look in her eyes, drink as much as you want, I'll take care of you. Don't you have a bad alcohol tolerance? Wang Meng complained. He was traumatized by the time he recalled the last time when Su Yao was bitten by a dog when she returned to the rental house. What a tactless guy. Su Yao cursed inwardly, but still had a smile on her face. Then and I are drunk, you have to take care of us. Don't worry, Wang Meng is very reliable. As they chatted, the food and drinks were served. Su Yao diligently picked up food for Liu Yi and filled the first glass of wine for everyone. Cheers to our friendship. Cheers. Liu Yi took off the white mask she had been wearing, revealing a charming oval face, a straight nose, 2 shallow dimples when she smiled, and plump and fiery red lips, making people want to kiss her. You are so beautiful. Su Yao praised sincerely. No wonder she has to cover it with a mask, her angelic face and devilish figure are so tempting. Every time she sits alone in the first row in class, it is not only because she is a top student, but also because of her aristocratic temperament. It is more likely that girls are unwilling to approach her because of jealousy, and boys are afraid to pursue her because of timidity. The 3 of them ate and chatted. Su Yao boasted about how she had made her business bigger and stronger. Liu Yi shared the happy time she had learning paper cutting with her grandmother, and Wang Meng was also happily talking about interesting things in the dormitory. In the happy and peaceful atmosphere, everyone drank too much without realizing it. Liu Yi's face was flushed with heat. She took off her coat and wore only a white tank top. She stood up and walked to the empty space next to the table. She said loudly, Su Yao, put on a song called Ding Ding Dong Dong on your phone. I'll dance for you guys to cheer you up. Su Yao opened Kugu. In 2008, these music apps had no copyright restrictions. One could listen to and download popular songs at will. It was extremely convenient. The dynamic rhythm of the dance music, ding ding dang dang, sounded, and Liu Yi's body moved with the beat. Her figure was like water, her dance steps were vigorous, her tender shoulders, slender waist, and hips were soft and boneless, and her twists made people's blood boil. Su Yao and Wang Meng were stunned. This girl is drunk, can you imagine that this is the usually cold and frosty Liu Yi? Isn't this the queen of the nightclub? All she needs is a super short hip skirt and a pair of pure high heels. Su Yao pulled Wang Meng and walked to Liu Yi's side, following her dancing moves. As they danced, they both laughed so hard that they almost choked at their own ugly moves. At this moment, the door of the box suddenly opened, and a girl with short hair appeared at the door, which scared Liu Yi. Jiu, why are you here? Liu Yi obviously knew the girl at the door. I heard voices next door and thought it must be you, so I came over to see, and it was indeed you. The short-haired girl came over, took Liu Yi's hands, very intimately. Jiu? Shangguan Jiu? My wife. Su Yao instinctively stood at attention, head down, as if he was caught fooling around by his wife. But he quickly changed his mind and thought, I am Su Yao now, so he immediately raised his head and chest, walked up to greet her. Hi, hello. Do you know E? More than knowing each other, we were good neighbors when we were young. Although I moved away later, we still keep in touch. By the way, let me introduce you to each other. This is Su Yao, the person in charge of our Maritime Silk Road Cultural and Creative Studio, and this is Wang Meng, also from the studio. The 3 of us have formed a cultural and creative team now. This beautiful lady is Shangguan Jiu, a sophomore at the Chengdong campus of Maritime Silk Road University. Speaking of which, we should call her senior sister. Chapter 31, Not Going Home Until Drunk. Old. Jiu, his friends are my friends. How about sitting down and eating some food